Today on
Doomed!
CPAC 2024, the annual conservative gathering of, your standard issue neocons, the aging Republican base, I should say, the MAGA faithful, and of course, the right-wing extremists. And I'm not talking about the right-wing extremists in the sense of the neocons, Republican base, and MAGA. I'm talking about literal, open neo-Nazis and white supremacists. And on today's show, we're going to talk about all of this with a guest who was there and saw it all happen. In fact, she interacted with these individuals, being that they recognized her from her work covering the far right. And, of course, she became part of the story a bit herself because upon seeing the attendees at CPAC, the organizers of the event had to, take action against the journalists covering it, of course. Journalist Amanda Moore, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's great to have you back. Now, last time you were on this show, we discussed, basically the work you've been doing over the past couple of years, attending right-wing events. And we should be specific here. These aren't like your standard, Republican politicians, community meeting with their constituents. This is like far-right gatherings, correct?
Yeah, yes.
And so you came on to discuss, your work over the years covering these events. You went, I guess we could say, undercover in the sense that you didn't tell anyone that you were a journalist or that you were not attending as a supporter or member of said, or believer, I should say, of said ideologies, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, far-right extremists across the board. And, after a number of years of doing this and a number of events covering it, a number of events you covered, I should say, you basically came out. I mean, a number of as a journalist covering this. A number of right-wingers, I guess, assumed at some point that you were someone covering them and not, attending because you truly believed in in protecting the white race, I assume.
Yeah, they put me on Antifa watch, so I got doxxed.
Right. So now you are able to use this information that you were able to uncover as someone who wasn't, attending with the knowledge the attendees had of you. They spoke to you, and we talked about it last time. They spoke to you, as one of their own. And now you go and attend events as openly as a journalist, but with that knowledge you were able to gain over the past couple of years. And I think you covered it great. You're one of the best people out there, I think, covering the far right.
Thank you. The far right doesn't agree with you, but thank you.
Well, because they're not happy to have someone shining a light on what they say and do at their events. But if they didn't think they were doing anything wrong, if they didn't think their ideology was wrong, then they should have no problem with journalists covering it. Like, journalists cover all sorts of events. I attended CPAC for a few years. I went in 2016 and 2017, I believe. I might have went one more year. I can't remember, but definitely 2016 and 2017. And they issued me the official CPAC credentials as a journalist. The second year they knew how I covered it the first year, and they still had no issue giving me these credentials. So I guess over the years they that viewpoint of theirs to let anyone in regardless of how they'll cover the event, I guess that changed somewhat. But before we get ahead of ourselves, Amanda, you attended, or at least attempted to attend CPAC 2024. Can you tell us a little bit about, what you saw at CPAC? I guess before we get into the main topic we're here to cover, generally, as someone who attended the CPAC 2024 event, even for but a second, what was your sort of takeaway from what you saw from the moment you stepped in?
So I was there, I think, for like 2 hours, and about 45 minutes of that was me at Chipotle. So I didn't see too much. Very empty.
So lots of Mexican fast food at CPAC 2024 this year.
At least for me. It was very empty. I mean, I took video of how empty the main conference area was, and there was only one room. So other years there's been breakout rooms that have happened while the speeches are going on, so you have choices of things to do. But this year it was just, you have to sit and listen to everybody talk, and then there's breakout rooms like on hour 10. It's just nonstop.
That's interesting, because when I attended, like, the breakout rooms were where I spent most of my time. Like, you don't go, like, if you attend, you don't go to the big speech. First of all, the room is full, and second of all, like, it's just like your standard, like, this is what's being broadcast online, live stream. Like, you could see this stuff easily. You got to go to those side rooms where, I mean, I remember when I went to one of the side rooms, I got to see Ben Carson up close and personal. I think I even got to meet with him. Those are the fun. That's the whole reason you go to CPAC, for like the booths and the side rooms. There were no side rooms though.
Oh, no, they had no side rooms, at least not like authorized. I think there were some that were not on the official schedule that still happened. But speaking of the booths, so I first went to CPAC in 2009, and it was in the Marriott Warden Park, so just this small little hotel. It's now closed. The exhibit area was bigger back then than it was this year. It was almost completely empty. There was nobody there. There were half the vendors at most that there were last year. It was like barren wasteland. So there was nobody inside listening to speeches. There were no vendors at the exhibit area. There was just nothing. It was awful. So it's dying, which is, I think, why Matt Schlapp made all these journalists buy tickets. And I think it's just because he needs the money, because nobody was paying to go to CPAC.
Interesting. I mean, CPAC was a big event when I went a couple of years ago. It was at the where did you say it was again?
So it's at the Gaylord, but like in 2009, it was at a much smaller like hotel in DC.
Oh, right. When I went in, like, I guess it's like what, 7 or 8 years ago now. Yeah. It was at the Gaylord too, but like that's a big space. They had like the whole floor. They had all the different rooms. They even had the downstairs area. I remember it was a. Are you saying they're just not utilizing?
Well, I mean, they should move it back to a smaller hotel, because it would look bigger then, because it like now.
So the attendance was that small.
Yeah, and like there were that few exhibitors. I mean, the exhibit hall was like, I mean, there were maybe, I think, 4 rows of actual exhibitors, and there's usually like 10.
That's really interesting. Like,
it's what happens when you are a sexual predator.
Yeah, I guess that's
people don't want to exhibit at that.
We could get a little bit into that too in a moment, but I mean, CPAC still, as far as I know, is the big. I know. I guess maybe. I mean, I haven't attended it, but I guess Turning Point USA's events have taken over, right?
Yeah, by far. Oh my God, they're so much bigger. There's so much more going on at Turning Point USA. So much more, and it's there's a lot of older people at Turning Point USA events, but students go for free. So there's a lot of younger people too. Yeah, it just completely blows CPAC out of the water.
I remember when I went to CPAC, Turning Point USA had a big, group there with mostly young people, even though the attendees who bought tickets clearly were, skewed older. And, I remember they had their Socialism Sucks shirts on, but they seemed like really young, like 18, 19, 20, 21. And it's like clear that like Turning Point USA brought them. Like they didn't buy their own. Like maybe they paid some amount to go, but it's clear they weren't like, I'm going to CPAC. It's more like Turning Point USA wanted to bring some people to CPAC, and these were the volunteers.
Yeah.
Are they still there?
I did not see a Turning Point USA booth. I don't think they would be
Wow.
welcome, to be honest with you. I don't think they would allow them to be exhibitors. Turning Point USA, like people who work for the company were there, but I don't think anybody was there in the capacity of like their employment. They're, also a college Republican, and they're also a young Republican, and they're also, whatever, and they come with that organization, not TPUSA.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
So let's now get into your very unique experience at CPAC 2024. I'm actually still sort of I don't know what else to say about it, but I'm actually very interested in the fact that it's dying out. I mean, that's very interesting because it seemed like a huge event when I went, and like it was
Yeah.
totally buoyed by Trump. Like it gave it like a new like a shot of adrenaline. Like his run gave it like a shot of adrenaline. And you would think, being that it's Trump's running again, it would have done that, but I guess not. But anyway, let's talk about your experience. So you went to CPAC and you spent 2 hours mostly in the local Chipotle,
Yes.
and then take it from there. You go in, and I'm guessing you spent at least some time on the floor.
Yeah. Well, so to back up, I had been approved for media credentials the week before CPAC started. And then 2 days before it started, I got an email that said, we changed our mind, sorry. So I still went to try to get my media credentials, and they told me to buy a ticket. They said, all the other journalists are buying tickets. And Matt Schlapp went on C-Band Show and said, we're going to take away credentials from all the leftist propagandas. You guys have to buy tickets. So I did. I bought my ticket. And then when I got there, after a couple of hours, they took it away. I will say I did get to see one riveting panel. It was about Georgie Soros. They spelled his name Georgie instead of George to make it a little cutesy. But yeah, they came and took my credentials off of my neck.
Like just as you were standing there, or sitting there watching, or
So, actually, we were walking through the hall, and Jared Taylor was there. So we took a photo of him, and I put it on Twitter. A guy, I can't say if he's a neo-Nazi.
for people who aren't familiar with Jared
Oh,
Taylor,
yeah.
can you give me a quick little breakdown?
So he is like pro eugenics. He runs America Renaissance. It's basically like Richard Spencer and Nick Fuentes. All the worst people have spoken at his events in the past. So that kind of sums him up. And everybody that knew him at CPAC was mostly a neo-Nazi. So there you go. And one of them started harassing me after I took a photo of Jared Taylor. And so maybe, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes after that, we're still in the hallway, and someone came up to me, and I thought I was going to get in trouble because I was getting harassed by some neo-Nazi. But I was not in trouble for that. I was just in trouble for being me. They told me I was on a red flag list, and I should never have been allowed to purchase a ticket. And I had to go. And so that's all the information they ever gave me, to be honest with you.
Like I mentioned earlier, like they used to give credentials to pretty much anyone who applied. Like, wait,
Media
you bought a ticket,
Matters had credentials.
right?
SPLC bought tickets. Like all these other organizations, like that got their stuff taken away, bought tickets. Mother Jones wrote an article during the middle of CPAC about how they bought a ticket. Nobody got kicked out but me, and I don't know why.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, I have theories about why, but yeah. So it was just me, and I mean, like I said, Media
Well,
Matters had credentialed journalists there, and last year they gave me a media badge, no problems.
I have to say, like, not that my personal opinion matters, but I always say, like, regardless of all my other feelings about right wing organizations, right wing events, right wing personalities, anyone who allows for in CPAC's position could any sort of media to come and cover the event, you get a little morsel of respect in my view. Not maybe respect's not the right word, but like a morsel of like I can't find the word, but that's a positive notch in my
Better
book.
vibes, a little
Yeah,
better vibes.
like the right wing personalities who actually engage with people that they disagree with and don't just like ignore them and take swipes at them and then not actually interact on the merit of what they're saying. Like if
Yeah.
you're someone who actually engages, regardless of what I think about you for other things, That's a positive thing about you in my personal estimation. But if CPAC's not like this anymore, then they lost that in the personal review of Matt Binder. I mean, it's lame. It's absolutely lame. Like, you cannot even like pretend to be a legitimate organization. I'm sorry. If you are going to kick someone out for simply covering your event in a critical manner. I'm sorry. It's bullshit.
And last year, I didn't even really cover CPAC. I just read about Nick Fuentes, who wasn't even inside CPAC. He was across the street. So, I mean, I went each day, but I never published anything about it other than the Nick Fuentes stuff. So there's definitely journalists there who had credentials who've been hypercritical of Match Slap, of CPAC in the past, but not me. I'm still kicked out.
What I know you said you have some theories. Would you want to share them? I'm interested in hearing what you think.
Well, I mean, I think it was like directive from Schlapp. I think somebody close to Schlapp who has a problem with me is the reason I was not allowed in. I mean, very specific red flag list is pretty.
Who else is on this list? Do we have any idea?
No. I mean, I've asked every journalist that I know who was there, or even just people who work at outlets that I know had someone there. And as far as I know, when people had their credentials revoked, they either got them back, bought a ticket, or just didn't even bother trying to go. So I'm the only one who's kicked out. So I feel like...
I wonder if one of his buddies confided in you at one of these events when you were undercover.
I think it's 2 degrees of separation. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Because everybody recognized me. I felt like a celebrity, but like from hell. So.
Oh, we'll get into that in just a moment. So while we're talking about CPAC proper, we might as well, you mentioned the I guess allegations, we can say, the allegations against Matt Schlapp. Yeah. What exactly, and you think this is why there are, CPAC is waning when it comes to sponsorships and companies paying for booths. What was that all about again? What are the allegations against Matt Schlapp?
Oh, honestly, I've never covered Matt Schlapp. I'm not even that super up to date on them, though I know his court date's June 3rd right by me, so I'm going to it. I'm going to watch his little jury trial in person. But he was going after staffers, people that he was in, positions of power of, after getting them drunk, is my understanding of it. And it's not that I'm speculating about the exhibitors. Like, that's like what I've been told, is that
these are headline stories right here in Washington Post and CNN. This is a Washington Post article from December of 2023. Lawsuit claims CPAC knew of past allegations of sexual misconduct by Matt Schlapp. And I'm just really quickly browsing, and one alleged incident, this is from the Washington Post article, so there could be even more serious, I should say, allegations, but this is just the one Washington Post ran with up top. In one alleged incident during a fundraising trip to South Florida in early 2022, Schlapp was accused of stripping to his underwear and rubbing against another person without his consent. Oh, interesting. In 2017, at a CPAC after-party, Schlapp attempted to kiss an employee against his wishes. Interesting. Yeah, I know conservatives like to make a big deal about pronouns, but I think the pronouns in that in that paragraph I just read are very interesting for a conservative.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, isn't it? And apparently Schlapp doesn't like it if you talk about that. So
right. Well, I'm just reading.
Just so you know.
I'm just reading the Washington Post article about this lawsuit. These are allegations. Yeah. I know nothing more about this than what I just read, but it's a story. It's a news story relative to CPAC, which is what we're covering, and that is what it is.
Yeah. And he's got to be stressed out. CPAC's dying. He's got court in 3 months. It's a lot.
I gotta say, I had a great time when I attended CPAC. I know you did not, so I'm not shoving it in your face.
Oh no, it was great. I mean, it couldn't have gone better.
CPAC was. I used to tell people, listen, if you are in this political bubble, if you're in politics, if you're interested in politics, if you cover politics in any way, shape, or form, CPAC is one of the most interesting events I've ever been to. It is. I'm not saying like it's my people though, because everyone knows my politics. I'm not a right winger, but it's super interesting. Like, it's fascinating. The people are fascinating in very interesting ways. I'll never forget this woman I interviewed at CPAC one year. It was one of the years where CPAC, all the CPAC speeches were about courting millennials. And so I wanted to ask people about like conservatives' obsession with millennials that year. Like, they were obsessed because at the time the millennials were the youngest generation eligible to vote. Yeah. Gen Z was barely a thing, when it came to voting age. So politicians didn't care about them. So it was all about winning over millennials. And I just wanted to talk to regular CPAC attendees. Every one of them, just regular people who paid, they were all very nice. Some of them were actually very sweet. But this one woman, I'll never forget her. She started reminiscing, and these were her exact words. She must have been like in her, 60s. And this was about 7 or 8 years ago. She started reminiscing about, quote, this is her quote, back when she was a millennial. And I didn't have the heart to tell her. I was like, lady, you never were a millennial. It's a generational thing. Millennials don't just mean young people. So this woman who was born in, the 50s or 60s, she was telling me about back when she was a millennial. It was great. I'll never forget it.
That's amazing.
But it was, it's sad that it's dying because, I thought it was if someone attended that, they would get a pretty good view, like overall summary of what the modern day conservatism is all about. And at its most positive, it was like a fun little, microcosm sideshow of America, I guess. But if the guy who runs it's a terrible person, like these allegations say, then maybe, there should be something else. There should be some other Republican sideshow touring America.
At least Charlie Kirk doesn't grope men. Unconsenting men.
Well, we never. When we could have said this about Matt Schlapp 7-8 years ago when I was reviewing. So I'm not saying there's anything out there about Charlie Kirk. Don't need him. I'm just saying no one has come forward with any such allegations.
Allegedly non-groper.
Right. Oh. I think that's a good way to put it. I mean, I guess we're all allegedly non-gropers until there are alleged allegations, right? But so let's get into now. There are two main parts of this episode. One, you went to CPAC. We've covered that pretty well. But then the other very important part of this discussion is exactly who you saw there and what happened when they recognize you. We already mentioned Jared Taylor, and I think that's a good, this is an older, probably one of the, the Nazi elders, I guess you could say. He's like early, this is a guy who was running his white supremacist magazine back in the early 80s or something, right? Yeah. This is a guy who's been in it, who's been at it for a long time. I guess a Nazi elder would be like literal, you were part of the SS or something, so we shouldn't give him that. But this is a guy who's been, in the white supremacist coal mines for a long time.
Yeah, yes. Saw him. And then I saw actually people that I saw last year who harassed me last year as well were there who, are various flavors of neo-Nazis.
Who'd you see, if you don't mind getting into it?
When I was undercover, I met a lot of people. So when I go to these kinds of events, for people who are under 35, you're probably at most 2 degrees separated from me being undercover. A bunch of people at CPAC were one person separated from me. So one of their friends I tricked. And they were very unhappy to see me last year. Last year, they surrounded me in a circle and went on a live stream calling me a slut for like 5, 6 minutes or so. Like 7 guys around me yelling at me. Very classy, very cool stuff. But this year they took a more calm approach. So one of them was Ryan Sanchez, and probably you don't know who he is. He was kicked out of the Marine Corps for being too much of a white nationalist. He was in Identity Europa. He was in RAM.
Kicked out of the military for being too much of a white supremacist. I mean, wow.
That's a high bar to meet, right?
Right.
Like, that's hard. Yeah, he's a streamer on Nick Fuentes' Cozy channel. So he's like good friends with Nick. He was there. His little friend, Colton Buss, was there, who was at the time a Washington State Young Republican, but I hear he is no longer one. And he had shown over the summer, he had shown El Reeve, the CNN journalist, his phone with all these swastikas on it. So I asked him about it, and he was like, I have more swastikas than those swastikas, and just showed me all of his phone backgrounds, various. And then he let me know that he was more extreme than Nick Fuentes, just in case I was confused. So I saw him. I saw a guy that goes by the name Valley Zoomer. His name's Kyle Ferreira. He likes to do these fun pranks where he goes up to people and says slurs at them or harasses them, including Matt Schlapp. He harassed Matt Schlapp, and he films it in little clips and then puts it.
And didn't get kicked out of CPAC.
And he harassed Matt Schlapp directly. He asked Matt why Nick Fuentes was banned, and he like followed him around. And nope, Kyle Ferreira was allowed to be there the whole time, as far as I know. I was kicked out. So their little group was there. Greg Conti was there, but he didn't have a badge for CPAC. So when they kicked me out, they were extremely clear that I could stay at the Gaylord. So they said, if you're staying in the hotel, you can be here. You can be in the lobby. You can be in the restaurants. You can be anywhere you want, except for the places you have to have a badge. I don't know why they were so clear, but Greg, I guess, was in the same boat as me. He didn't try to buy a ticket, but he was allowed to go anywhere that CPAC itself wasn't happening. So he went to some happy hour that was part of like an auxiliary group, you know. He was Richard Spencer's bodyguard at the 2017 Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville. So that says a lot about him. So lots of people like that were there. Communism Kills was there. She was flitting around, hanging out with various young Republican groups. So lots of just the worst people were there.
Right. And so you actually, you were obviously, who was there because you were still, you were kicked out of CPAC, but you still were covering the event. So you basically, I think I saw you set up, I think you put it as you set up an office.
Yeah.
You set up shop in the lobby of the event, right?
Yeah, in the hotel lobby. Yep.
Right. And so you were seeing these people come in, come out, doing their thing. And at some point, I'm sure they noticed you throughout, but at some point they decided to, come over to you. Correct?
Oh, every day they were doing that. I was texting people. I'm like, I feel like I'm holding court for Nazis, because they would all just come and sit with me. And I'm like, what do you want? Why are you here?
What would they say?
I should say the 14 words. I should have white babies, do I know about black crime? Just trying to red pill me a little bit. Sometimes kind of making fun of me. Sometimes talking about religion. I don't know. They need a therapist and a mother. Either way, it's not supposed to be me. I would always say you guys should really just go talk to the other journalists, because they all really want to talk to you, and I don't. But to no avail. So at the time, by the end of the first day, if you were a Nazi, you didn't know who I was when you walked to the door. You knew by the end of the first day, because all of your friends were coming over and harassing me. So that's where it was, yeah.
Now, there's this picture of them that sort of went viral, of them at the table with you, and you're giving them the finger. I love it. It's a great photo. But what was going on there? Because it looks like at that point, it was, I don't know if it was just you were just tired of it, or their harassment was getting, even more so over the top. But what was happening at that moment?
Well, you can't have a photo with a Nazi. You can't look like you're consenting to have a photo with a Nazi. You got to be extremely clear that you're not. So
Right.
they,
Oh, so they came over specifically to take the
oh,
photo.
we have been,
Oh, right. I'm looking at the one of the photo. There was a few of them going. I'm looking at one of them right now. This one it makes it clear. I'll pull it up. This is Ryan Sanchez, I guess.
yeah. Well, they had
Um,
been with me for like 40 minutes by the time that photo was taken.
I mean, this is them clearly. He's clearly here going to you to take a photo op. I mean,
Yeah.
what's with this look he's going for? It's like gothic greaser. Like I don't quite understand what modern day neo-Nazi aesthetic is.
It
Honestly,
looks like school shooter. Like it looks like Columbine. Like you know what I mean? Because three of them are dressed like four of them, three of them I think were dressed like that. So they look like big school shooter vibes. Very strange.
yeah, it's very weird. Like the greaser, like rockabilly, slick backed hair, but with but with like a weirdo like leather long trench coat. It doesn't. The two aesthetics don't go together. It's just two completely different styles. Very odd,
Very
but
odd.
they never had the Nazis never had the greatest fashion sense.
And at least they weren't in lederhosen like the other guys were. So you know
There
what?
were
We
guys
gotta.
in lederhosen.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Yes. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Oh.
I guess they're going for the rockabilly matrix. I don't know what to call that style. It's just so weird, so weird. So they, what were they like? You mentioned they were like harassing Matt Schlapp and stuff, but like, what was their purpose to attend? Like, these guys clearly were there to canoodle with people there. And clearly, the people they are canoodling with got to know who they are to some extent.
Yeah. So they go every year. They also go to Turning Point USA, which has two big events each year, one in the summer and one in the winter. They go to those as well. Last year after CPAC, Ryan did a stream where he like said, like, if you're young, you have to go to CPAC. We got to go because we got to dress nice. And then when we're nice to the boomers and then they hear, like they read later, oh, that guy's a Nazi, they'll be like, oh, but he was so nice to me. He can't possibly be a Nazi. So it's like a recruitment tactic. They're like, we got to do the IRL activism. And it's also like an image thing with the older people. And then, of course, to like, go to the parties and make connections. Of course, that's what CPAC's really all about. And then usually, they have their own event. But this year, they did not. I mean, Nick Fuentes usually has an event, is what I'm saying.
Right, he
Yeah.
does. And we were denied that this year.
We were denied. I was denied the chance to like last year when some of his minions like dressed up in like empty plate carriers and told me they worked for the Marriott and I had to leave. I was denied the opportunity to participate in this LARP again. Very sad. But yeah, no Nick Fuentes this year. But yeah, they usually go for, recruitment and optics and networking, just like anybody else would go, except I guess most people aren't worried about like their reputations as Nazis. And people have to know. They have to know because Ryan Sanchez, his name is so easy to Google. And every year journalists write about him being there and nobody cares.
Yeah, I mean, I maybe he just enters and exits the matrix when he feels like that's why no one covers him. They can't quite tell if he's real or part of the take the bread pill. Anyway, let's talk about this other major aspect. There's two sort of aspects here that involve the media, but one more directly related to CPAC, and then the other we'll get to in terms of how it was covered involving your work. But as soon as I feel like, I mean, you were one of the major people here too, obviously, as the person who was there, knew who these individuals were without, because of all your prior work, without, having to look into them, you knew exactly who they were. You were probably the first person, certainly the first person I saw to, say, this is who's attending this event. This is what's going on here. There are literal neo-Nazis and white supremacists attending CPAC, and CPAC booted me, the journalist, while letting them attend. As soon as that gets out there, Other media outlets start covering it as well. And then we get the official CPAC Matt Schlapp statement. What were they saying in terms of who was attending CPAC?
Well, Matt Schlapp says it wasn't Nazis. I mean, and there's a video of Ryan Sanchez, doing a Hitler salute on me, which he did when he took that photo. And Schlapp just refuses to acknowledge it. And in the one time, I sent him, I think, 27 questions for comment before my story came out. He didn't answer any of them. And he's like vague tweeted me after my story was out. And I asked him again, obviously you're free to talk to me, but like, what's up with the Nazis? And he was like, well, I love Israel. So that's Matt Schlapp's stance, is there that he won't answer if there were Nazis anymore, but he will tell you he loves Israel.
Right.
No.
So his position is just to not even acknowledge it.
Yeah, correct. I mean, he initially told NBC before the video of the Hitler salute had come out. He initially told NBC, there were no neo-Nazis, blah, 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 blah. And then the video came out, and I don't know, between the time the video came out and when him and I started our Twitter feud, I don't know if he, updated his stance at all. But for me, all he said was that he loves Israel. Until the end of time, he loves Israel.
I love Israel till the end of time.
He loves Israel, and it will exist until the end of time, or something very oddly worded, unless you're,
I'm looking at a video right now that I just came across, actually, of Olia Scootercaster is her Twitter name. She was recording outside of CPAC, and she has Ryan and his buddies on camera chanting Pinochet right there outside CPAC. I mean,
well, who can say if that's bad? Who can say if that's bad?
Right.
Who knows? I love Israel. I don't know anything about Pinochet. He's not from Israel.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, the idea that I love, in a way, I do love that. Like, there were Nazis at your event. Do you have a comment? I love Israel forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Oh my God. So there was, like I said, a number of media organizations covered it. There was an issue that I wanted to bring up with you because, I think it's part of this story, where there was something going on. I think it's better if you tell it from your perspective. But there was, a little blowback from one of the media outlets to your work. What happened there?
So, CPAC ended on Saturday. Saturday night, this guy, Chris, also far right guy, but from Australia, he posted on Twitter a video. So when Ryan Sanchez took that photo of me, and I'm giving the middle finger, my head was down, so I could not see, but he did a Hitler salute. And Chris had taken a video of it, and he put it on Twitter, and he was like, America is more fucked up than Australia. He's like, what's going on here? And this was
someone who was with what?
He's an Australian right winger, and so he was like here covering it,
So it was more like oi mate, America is so much more fucked up than Australia.
Yes. And so he was like, the left and the right back home, this never happens. And so he tagged both of us, and I sent it to like people I talked to. And so Ben Goggin from NBC had written that day an article about the neo-Nazis who were at CPAC. And so I sent it to him as well. He immediately quote tweeted it. Fine. That's not a problem, right? Like, it's not my video. It is me in the video, and I'm clearly labeled as such. But whatever. He quote tweets it, and then Chris deletes the video. Now, I had downloaded it, so I already had it saved. But I guess Ben had not, so he just screen recorded it. Twitter sucks, so you can still see deleted tweets for a while. And then he reposted it. Didn't say it was me in the video. Now, I'm going to be very clear. I'm probably the only journalist who walked into CPAC knowing who these guys were. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I assumed even earlier
Yeah.
when I said it. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know for sure if no one else caught it, but you're the first person I saw mention it. So I would assume that, you were the one on top of it. And, again, I want to reiterate that you wouldn't have that unique ability if it wasn't for the work you did prior.
Yeah, they've been
Um,
harassing me for over a
yeah,
year now, you know?
yeah.
So like we're acquainted. And so I think it's also interesting that I'm the one journalist banned, and I'm also the one journalist that knew the neo-Nazis who had access to be inside. Like Greg Conti didn't know me or whatever, but like these guys all knew me and I know them. And so Ben shares his screen recording, and it does not bother to mention that they're harassing a journalist, which in my opinion changes the story a little bit. And also, hey, by the way, I could just been one of their girlfriends that they're like playing a joke with. You know what I mean? Like I could just be Nazi girlfriend. There's no like clarification, which is a bizarre editorial decision in an election year, I think. It's the most important election of our lives, but like, hey, look, a journalist can't even cover this shit without like neo-Nazis touching her and harassing her. Okay, NBC. So that's what happened. I was supposed to go on. So I had tweeted during CPAC. Matt Schlapp had been like, "There's no anti-Semitism at CPAC," and I quote tweeted it and said, "My brother in Christ, somebody asked me to recite the 14 words on Friday night." And so I guess Jake Tapper had seen that, and I was supposed to go on his show on the Tuesday after CPAC.
Actually, that sounds like potential new 14 words if they're looking for one. My brother in Christ. I was asked to recite the 14 words.
I'll pass the message on next time. I'll be like, no, we have a new one, Colton.
Right. Where you mention the old 14 words in the new 14 words. Right. It's like a Inception type
Yeah.
14 words. Yes.
And so I was just gonna be like, and so they contacted me on Sunday, I think. So the day after CPAC ended, and so I was like pissed at Ben for sharing this video and obfuscating the story. But I was like, well, I'm going on CNN. I could just talk about it then, And then I got bumped because of SCOTUS. So that night I was like, well, they'd already done my hair and makeup by the time I got bumped. So I was like, well, I'll just make a TikTok. And I made a TikTok calling Ben out, but I didn't say his name. But then I drank a little bit and I tweeted his name. I tagged his name. I quote tweeted him and then I tagged him. Because I was pissed, like you not necessarily stole the story, but like you didn't steal the story from me as a journalist. You stole the story from me as a person involved in the story. Like you editorialized the story in a way that kept me out of it. And I think it's because if he had been like, that's a journalist, or even if he had said, Amanda sent me this video, then people would know it's Amanda in the video. And suddenly it's not about his big scoop at NBC. It's going to shift. And it's, also going to like co-focus on me as the person who's like a target of neo-Nazis because I write about them. And so, we had like a Twitter fight for several days in which Ben Goggin blocked dozens of far-right extremist researchers and journalists who spoke on my behalf. So I don't really know how he's going to handle the beat in the future. But it didn't go well. He compared me to Project Veritas and James O'Keefe and called me a stunt journalist, a stunt influencer, which is also crazy because he said that they were my friends, which means that now you're willing to throw your own work under the bus because you're saying I orchestrated the stunt with my neo-Nazi friends. So then what's the point of your story if it was just a prank? Very bizarre behavior. So, but freelance journalists get their stuff stolen all of the time from people who have, these jobs at these major outlets. And most of them care about their careers and don't have big platforms and are not insane. But that's not me. So,
Right. I don't think that you do. I don't even know what that means, though. Stunt journalism. I mean, why? Because you did the undercover thing, and it was a part of your I guess I don't know the word to use, character or whatever. I don't know. I mean, it's literally it's something that you did that makes you more knowledgeable about the who's who in the space than like 99% of people out there who are covering it.
Yeah.
I think it's important work what you do. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, he was the one messaging me questions about who people were the entire weekend. So,
Right. I mean, it's good that they covered it.
it's good they covered
Obviously
it.
that's what you want, but could have done
Yeah.
so in a way without all that other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, Amanda, what's next after you were banned from CPAC? What event are you looking to get banned from next?
I'd like to go to CPAC Hungary. I can't get in because they don't let journalists in at all, not just me. But I could do the same thing, sit in the hall. So I've thought about it. I know where everybody stays.
Who attends CPAC Hungary? Is it just like a bunch of U.S. right wingers flying over to Hungary to do the same thing there?
Yeah.
I know Hungary obviously has right wingers, but like I can't imagine there's that much of an audience for paying people paying customers from Hungary who are interested in seeing U.S. right wingers. Like it doesn't like it's like listen, if you got like a few scattered foreign right wingers attending a U.S. event, then that's not going to be like a make or break draw for CPAC here in the U.S. Just like I can't imagine like if you have a show full of American right wingers would be like some sold out crowd over in some other country. Like it's just not. Maybe I'm wrong though.
Well, I can't even figure out how to buy tickets. I haven't tried this year, but I did previously try to buy tickets. A lot of people did. I had nobody like would tell us how to do it. Of course, Orban is there. It's a lot of like Fidesz, and then a lot of the like far right, within Europe show up to it. But it is very hush hush. No one knows how to get tickets. No one, nothing. So like the handful of articles that come out about it each year are journalists being like, I wasn't allowed inside of CPAC Hungary, so I hung out in the hotel, Yeah, I don't, no one knows who goes to it because they don't let anybody in and they don't release information on it. So it's very strange, but it's a lot of Americans going in speeches to Orban, how much they love him.
Right. All
Yeah.
right. Interesting. So hope you make it. Hope you get it.
Yeah, I'm really considering going. Also, I never got a refund for my ticket. So I'd like to go to Budapest and ask for my $95 back.
You can always issue a chargeback.
I'm going to. I guess I have to. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they'll respond real quick because they don't want to get hit with the chargeback fee.
We'll see. I don't know. I don't know that they are that organized. They might not even realize. It's a real shit show.
if you are maybe in past years, but if you were one of the 20 paying attendees,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
they might notice it this year.
That's true. That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, CPAC, if you're listening, let Amanda back in. It was one of the good points about your show that you let these critical voices in to cover your event fairly. Like Amanda's not making anything up. Like she's talking about the literal neo-Nazis and white supremacists she saw attending. It's not like she's saying she saw, Kanye West strolling through the floor of CPAC, because she didn't see that. But did you see that?
Oh, God. Can you imagine? Kanye be so miserable there, I bet. Oh.
I would love to see it because I don't think they would have the balls to kick him out.
I don't think
They would love to have him there. He's a celebrity. They love celebrities. The right loves any like this. Like look at how they talk about like fucking like John Voight. Like he's the like look how they talk about what's his face Hercules from the TV show. Whatever his name is. Look how they talk about these people. Like these are like Z-level actors, but it's like, you got Democrats have Beyonce and Lady Gaga. Well, we got Kid Rock and
6 weeks ago, I was in a parking lot in Texas, and Ted Nugent came in on a helicopter and screamed nonsense about Joe Biden into a microphone and then like played like 30 seconds on a guitar and walked off. And everybody was like, this is the best day of my life. Ted
Wow.
Nugent.
Ted
So yeah,
Nugent, right.
yeah.
That's how you know the right really cares about grooming and and the sexual predators when you got Mr. Cat Scratch Fever, Ted Nugent as your hero. I mean, jeez. Well, Amanda, I'm looking forward to having you back on very soon to talk about the next event you attend, whatever it may be. Maybe you don't get to CPAC Hungary. Maybe you could give us a. I actually would love to attend a Turning Point USA thing. They don't come to New York, do they? Though I
It's
don't travel much.
Palm Beach and Phoenix. You know, New
Right,
York,
it's
that's too liberal,
yeah.
too many COVID rules. You guys
You
aren't even
think
allowed to go outside.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, I don't. I mean, I just sit in this room, this closet space that I stream in, and this is basically where I am 24/7. And when I walk out the door, I have to put on a complete like bodysuit, like a
yeah,
hazmat suit,
and
because
get a
that's the
shot every time.
and yeah, every time. There's actually a nurse situated outside of my door 24/7. Every time I walk out, she just jabs me, and that's just how it is.
Yeah.
It's amazing, like what things they are stuck, like they are stuck in like 2020. It's so weird to hear their conversations and like what
Yeah.
they talk about. Their culture wars, everything they talk about is so delayed. They're so behind the times. But
Yeah. Trying to relive those glory days, man. It must
yeah,
have been so cool when you got to do whatever you wanted, nobody else could.
yeah, back when they were millennials.
Back when they were millennials, in the millennial years.
Oh my God. Amanda Moore, everyone. Amanda, please let people know where they can find you. I know. Let me drop the Nation article link is in the description to this video and on the publicly posted Patreon page for this episode. It's, if you want to search it on, if you don't see the link or whatever, it's in the Nation at thenation.com. The title of the piece is "I was banned from CPAC, but the extremists weren't." But please, Amanda, take this opportunity to promote any other links, social media handles, whatever you'd like. The floor is yours.
So I'm on every platform, but mostly Twitter as No Turtle Soup 17. And then I have a Substack at turtlediaries.net.
There you go. All right, Amanda Moore, everyone. Amanda, thanks for joining us tonight. Have a great rest of your night.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care.
All right, folks. That was fantastic. I had a lot of fun with that interview. And it was very informative to see exactly who's going to CPAC. Even if CPAC doesn't want to come face to face with it. But let's go to the second half of the show where I will be taking your phone calls. I will be reading your super chats. Let's do that right now. But before we jump to that second half of the show, if you can support this show, please feel free to do so at patreon.com/MattBinder. The Patreon subscriber base has been a little bit slow growing. In fact, it's gotten a little bit in the reverse. We've lost more subscribers than we've brought in. Everyone in the exit survey says that, financial difficulties, lost their job. Totally get it. If that's you, please do not become a patron. You got to take care of yourself and your family first. That way you could get in the position where you can become a Patreon, and I'll have no issue asking you to become a Patreon because I won't feel bad about asking you to become a Patreon. But if you are someone who is in a position where you should feel bad for not being a Patreon, you could go to patreon.com/MattBinder, become a financial contributor to the show, helping me continue doing what I do and growing the show. Let me, before I talk about what else to do, let me shout out the people who became patrons this month. We got just a few, just a handful. Danny C and Alan B, thank you so much for becoming Patreon subscribers. Appreciate the support. It means a lot. And over on YouTube at youtube.com/MattBinder, you can subscribe to the channel. You can also drop a super chat. I read the super chats. You could also become a member on YouTube if you prefer to use YouTube for your memberships. And if you are an Amazon Prime subscriber, you should connect your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account and subscribe with your free Twitch Prime subscription you get every month. That's right. If you pay for Amazon Prime, they give you a free Twitch subscription every month to give to your favorite creator. It's free for you. It's paid for your favorite creator. It comes out of Amazon's pockets. And by not using it, you're letting Amazon keep more of your Amazon Prime subscription that you pay them. So why do that? Jeff Bezos gets enough of your money every month. Go to twitch.tv/MattBinder and do that today. Also, for the podcast version of this show, you could go to doomedcast.com. All the links to direct download, also the Apple Podcast link, the Google Podcast link, Spotify link, anywhere you get your podcast from. And while you're at any of those platforms, feel free to leave a review if you haven't already. Reviews help people find the show, honestly. Helps push the show up the rankings, helps people know whether this is a show worthy of taking the time of listening to. And you can check out my other show at scameconomy.com. Did an episode just last week, brand new episode with Ed Zitron. Fantastic episode going over the AI hype and, of course, the recent pump of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. It's a very fun episode. Check that out. And without anything else to say, if you're sticking around, open up Skype on web or via the app and search Doomed Live, and you could call into the show. Just you click the Doomed Live user. That's me. You could call into the show. I take the calls as they come in. So if you're sticking around, there'll be a very short break while I refill my drink. Don't go anywhere. It'll be right on this feed. If you're watching live or if you're a patron subscriber. If you are listening via the free podcast feeds, this is where I say to you, I will see you next time on Doomed.
Ecological collapse, corporate fascism, corporate journalism, police brutality, voter suppression, austerity economics, education masses, rampant homophobia,
We got our first caller.
What's up, Matt?
Hey,
You from Jamaica?
Dave from Jamaica. How are you doing, my friend? What are we going to be talking about today?
I don't think you are exactly what you think you are. I would say you're a conservative. What makes you a liberal? I'm pro-Green New Deal. Are you? Yes, really? Absolutely. I have watched the show. I've seen you completely come out and get really mad at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for some of the things in the Green New Deal.
You mean like free college for black people?
All right, we are back. Hold on one second. Let me pull myself up on the feed. I got a lot of calls coming in. Let's take some calls. Uh, hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Oh, this is Sam.
Hey, Sam. What's up? What was it to talk about?
Oh, just want to talk about a few things. First off, did you see the Oscars or sort of highlights?
I did see the highlights. Yes. What was it to talk about?
A few of the things. Thoughts of the winners though, especially Oppenheimer. And have you seen it yet or not?
I have not seen Oppenheimer actually yet. Hello?
Yeah, I'm also, and then the speech from the director who did Zone of Interest though.
I did see that speech. I thought that was, it took a lot of guts to do that on that platform. I thought it was a good speech for, for what it was, and it certainly bothered a bunch of people who that speech was meant to call out, I guess.
Yeah, and then also recently reaction, especially Meghan McCain of all people.
Yeah. What did Megan McCain say?
Well, Meghan McCain, I think I saw on a David Stowe video, was calling out of Jewishness,
She was what?
calling out the director's Jewishness.
Who does she think she is? Wow. That's something else. Hello?
Yeah,
Yeah, what that's I mean, I don't know who she thinks she is. I mean, she's obviously John McCain's daughter. She reminds us that a lot, but was
yeah.
there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I did want to talk about the CPAC thing. That was really surprising, though, in a way,
Oh yeah, go
about
ahead.
that for your. Yeah, I'm just relates just about that. It makes me think about like concerns, and now with Biden now being probably our only option, as well as Trump, as in like what is left now?
Um, I mean, that's what it is. That's who it's gonna be. I mean, doesn't necessarily mean you gotta, you know, you don't have to vote for him, I guess. But I mean, those if you're someone who wants to vote, and those are your choices, you know.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say, but thanks, though. Just wanted to call and say, hey.
No, I mean, I wish I could say there was some other choices, but there's not.
And then
It's
also speaking of which, what you would call it, what's his name? Kennedy, I forgot his first name. Kennedy's saying that one of his running mates will be Aaron Rodgers.
I did see that. That would be something else. I don't think that would be good for his campaign. I mean, his campaign, whatever he. I don't know what would be good for his campaign with the way he's been running his campaign, but that is what I heard. But it's just a name that he's floating around. He's probably not going to pick Aaron Rodgers.
All right, keep doing your
I
thing.
wish he did though. That would be quite entertaining. It would be fun to see that, I guess. Have a great night. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it, Sam. Now let's go back to the phones. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Sama.
Hey, Osama. How you doing? What did you talk about?
Um, I missed this stream, but I'll watch it later. But it was what do you call it? Um, it was a CPAC doesn't really matter that much these days, does it?
No, it doesn't seem like it does whatsoever.
Yeah, but they do have a weird lunatic people coming from all over. Like it's become like an international event for just the weirdest people.
Yeah, it's become a. I mean, it always was sort of a funny little, like I mentioned earlier, sideshow. Like it was. I enjoyed it for what it was, because it was something very different for me than it was for other people.
Uh,
People were very open to talk with you at CPAC, honestly, and that's what made it so great. You got to really, you know,
no, it was more domestic though before. Like now it seems like they just go get
oh yeah,
like
the thing with
random
like
people.
that no, but like the thing that Amanda mentioned, how they're having a Hungary event, like
Oh yeah,
CPAC
yeah,
used to just be like a once or twice a year, really big event, like just outside DC in Virginia, at the
for the
Gaylord
US
thing.
conservatives.
Yeah,
It wasn't
but
like
now,
you would have like some random European country or even UK or France or something where you just bring in someone from outside and they're speaking and everything.
yeah, now it's
It's it's kind of like a weird convention now, kind of like Comic Con or something, where you just have people from they're like the celebrities from all over, and then like you said, people are excited to talk to you.
yeah. I mean, it's a weird. I would have to go again, honestly, to get my to totally I guess experience what the new CPAC is. But in like 2016, 2017, when like Trump was new and everything, it was really like it was
Oh yeah, it was big.
the place to be. It was like
Yeah.
happening. Like all the major conservative figures were there. No one would dare miss it if you wanted to be a somebody in that space. I mean,
I
I
mean,
remember we got to. I was there with Blake Zeff, who was my editor at Cafe, and we would do CPAC videos, and we talked to all sorts of people. We got
yeah,
Grover Norquist to talk with us. I mean, they would talk if you were there. You pretty much had access to.
whatever.
Um, yeah, I mean, maybe like the really big players. Like maybe you wouldn't get like Trump or Ted Cruz talking to you, like the actual like people running for president at that moment. But everybody else, even like the people in
Yeah,
their orbit, you could talk with them if you got them at the right time at the right place.
yeah, but now it's like they got Liz Truss, which is like the fourth tier prime minister for the Tories. Like you have what's her name? Theresa May, Boris Johnson, Rishi Sunak. There was another one, right? Or they changed so many prime
I
ministers. Was there
I
another
I,
one?
I don't know if you're. I'm not sure.
Because they got Liz Truss, like the lady who didn't even outlast the lettuce. So they got like the worst prime minister from the UK Tory party in probably British history.
Yeah.
The They also had Orban, but like you said about Hungary, Hungary is becoming big for CPAC for some reason. I don't know why, but they had Orban last time, I think.
They
Um,
they did have Orban. I remember that. Yes.
yeah. Maybe they'll have Millet next year or something.
Maybe. Yeah.
If he lasts that long, who knows what happens in Argentina?
All right.
Uh,
I wouldn't. It wouldn't
but
surprise me if they got him. Honestly.
yeah, but I wouldn't be
I mean,
surprised
he
if he's
probably. I'm
not the
pretty
prime
sure
minister.
he might have been there actually. I think.
He
I think
might.
he
I
was
don't.
actually. I think. Yeah, he was there. He was there.
Oh, this year.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know. I only remember. I
When you
only.
mentioned it, I was like, yeah, they'll get him. And as I'm saying that, I'm like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
I definitely saw him there. Right.
Did he
No.
speak?
Yeah. No, he had a speech. He had a speech.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's insane, so he probably said something like wacky. Like his interviews in the sorry, not Australian, Argentinian media, like where he's just hallucinating or something. I don't know how the hell he won the president, how he won the elections, but I don't know if he lasts for a year. I don't know what happens with Argentina actually. What?
I mean, they think he's been great, but they are in a bubble where the people who are hurting don't matter. You
Oh
know?
no, because basically to cut what do you call it, inflation, what you can do is make everything basically unlivable for people, and then you'll cut inflation a lot. That's basically what the IMF goes around doing with countries is austerity politics that results in inflation and stuff reducing. And on like paper, you have these businesses saying that the outlook is stable and the country is stabilizing, but it's basically just prepping up the country for private ownership, like a takeover. Like Milei's destroying the actual foundations of Argentina's government, right? Like dismantling departments, and that way he's getting like uh, a way to reduce inflation, which is still very high. It's like what was it? I remember seeing 13 or 14%. But in doing that, it's not actually alleviating any of the root causes of why inflation was so high. It's just a temporary measure where you lose a lot of the things that make a country, but for a bit you can pretend that you're doing better than you actually are.
Yeah.
That's basically what the IMF does too.
Yeah.
And that's what like people don't get about the US imperialism is the guns and everything is just like a more special case. It's mostly just this boring financialization and banking stuff that no one pays attention to.
Right.
And that's basically what China does too. But China's
China. I had to. I don't know
oh
the way you
yeah,
said it. I had to do it.
yep.
I apologize in advance.
No, no. And speaking of China, the stupid TikTok ban, which
It is so fucking dumb, man. So fucking stupid. And like anyone defending it, I'm sorry. Listen, the stupidest thing is I see people bringing up how Grinder was actually had Chinese owners and was forced to be sold in I think it was 2020. Hold on, let me look it up really quick. Yeah, it was forced to be sold in 2020, but it was forced to be sold in 2020 after the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, CFI US, looked into it and determined there was a national security risk. Now, the reason I think it was a national security risk was the fact that Grinder has a lot of information about you personally. Like, I think it even knew, like, individuals, like, for example, like, I think I'm looking at an article here, like, you could get users' HIV status.
oh yeah, I mean makes sense.
Like,
They probably collected.
right. But CFI US looked into TikTok, and they didn't determine yet, at least, that it had to be so like that it was a national security risk. Like, they didn't. Like, why are we like there's an agency here that is set up literally to review transactions involving foreign investments in the United States. That's their job. And they have not said TikTok has to do this. Why is Congress getting involved here when there's a literal U.S. agency whose role is to look into these things, and they have not made this decision yet? I'll tell you why. It's because Congress is going after TikTok for other reasons.
I mean, yeah, but it's also kind of strange because the Democrats and Biden are just making the talking points for the Republicans. Like the whole trans thing they tried to do and didn't work. So now they're going back to the classics of like the immigrants are coming and there's an invasion.
Oh, they're throwing everything at the wall.
Yeah.
Both parties, like Democrats and Republicans, have no idea. They have no idea right now. They're
helping build the narrative for the Republicans in the way like the China nonsense that's been like their own the Republicans, like they're making a lot of noise about China, and then the immigration stuff, which is like you're buying their narrative and playing their game. which I guess Democrats always do. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna get challenged in courts. It's gonna get delayed, and it's probably not gonna happen till like, if it gets banned, then it's not gonna happen this year probably. But it's stupid.
Oh, there's probably going to be a lot of legal processes and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, and if it passes
like
the
the
Senate,
issue is that this is so clearly a bill targeting TikTok. Like
Oh, yeah.
there's nothing TikTok does. And listen, I'm not saying this is someone who's a fan of TikTok because I'm on there and I have a huge following. In fact, this is really pushing. Like the first thing I saw when I said this is like, fuck. I always say like every show I must have said in this live stream for the past like year or two now. I should really get on TikTok, but I haven't. Because I haven't had the time. But now more than ever, I'm like, you know what? I need to find the time to fucking get on there. I'm saying this as someone without any skin in the game on TikTok right now,
Yeah.
at least.
but
It is no different.
Yeah.
There's no danger TikTok poses that is any different than any other social media platform.
Yeah,
There's no
but
argument you could make about TikTok that makes it inherently worse than any other social media platform, any other tech
And the-
platform, period. Like, oh, the CCP, the claims of the CCP. Well, first of all, ByteDance has refuted those claims. You could say you don't believe ByteDance. That's fine. What makes you believe when Meta says that they don't do this? What makes you believe Amazon when they say they don't do this? What makes you believe Elon Musk when he says he doesn't do this? It's no different. I don't trust any of these companies, ByteDance included.
They also claim that why do you have a different version? But the US made TikTok be different and be separate from the TikTok in China. That was what
I
they
love
made it
I love the
before.
idea. I love the idea that like, oh, another argument is like, oh, the CCP controls the algorithm. You got no fucking clue how the algorithm works. And when I
They
hear
barely
that,
have an idea.
no, I'm talking about the people who are saying.
I know. I'm saying TikTok barely. Like these.
Oh, TikTok barely.
YouTube-
No, this is the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
This is the thing. This is a combination of what's going on right now. So, the usual China hawks have always hated it. They wanted it banned under Trump. They didn't have the full-on support under Trump yet, though. So, you got the people who think the CCP is the devil. There's a huge difference between, I guess tankies who support, the Chinese Communist Party, and just being like, the CCP is not they're an authoritarian regime. You could view them negatively, obviously, for those reasons, the same reasons you view other authoritarian regimes negatively. They are not this unique devil that the neocons and neoliberals want you to think they are, in terms of like, oh, they're gonna they're combing through our stuff. They're trying to.
Oh yeah. They're like trying to build a new Cold War.
They are, yes, the new Cold War. They are trying to compete with the U.S. Yes, obviously, just like
every country does.
just like we spy on them to compete with them. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying
that was another one where the balloon nonsense that was like so big is like,
come on.
Every country does it. I don't know for sure, but I bet like there are Pakistani and Indian and Russian spies right now in the US or somewhere.
Right, of course.
Doing something.
We got spies everywhere too. Listen, it's the way the
Yep,
world
exactly.
works.
Every
I'm
country
not
has a-
happy with it, but like
Yeah.
to act like it's something unique done against us. Oh, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so
And
stupid.
the same with like the election stuff. Like every country also tries to influence elections in every other country. Like not just adversaries, even allies wise. Like the US probably tries to influence UK and French elections in some way. Like either it's the private companies that prefer one government over the other, or it's like the government itself that likes one or the other. It happens all the time. I'm not saying it's successful or not, but that's a different thing. But
so you got, let me just continue here. You got the China hawks, and then on top of that, you have lobbying from the big tech companies in the U.S. I don't know if people realize this, but a lot of the money behind this is actually from lobbyists who are paid by companies like Meta. The Elon Musk. There's major lobbying behind taking away TikTok as a competitor.
ABC.
They can't beat TikTok. They've tried. They've tried to recreate it. They've tried to compete with it.
They can buy it
Google
like
with Google with YouTube and YouTube Shorts.
yeah.
Meta with Instagram and Instagram Reels. They can't compete with it.
Yeah, that's the tactic they had before. Like Facebook just bought everyone. Like they bought WhatsApp, they bought Instagram.
They can't buy TikTok because
Yep.
ByteDance isn't some fledgling little startup that needs to be, the server costs are getting to be too much. We blew up before we could, the platform blew up too big before we could bring in revenue. We got to sell it off for lots of money, but still way less than it's probably worth if we had the funds to keep this going ourselves. This is not ByteDance. ByteDance is a major player in China. It's got tons of money. They don't need to sell off TikTok. And they're losing money on TikTok too, but it's a major investment for them. And people probably think, oh, ByteDance is losing money on TikTok. They must have ulterior motives for it. No, every tech company loses money. I mean,
I feel like does Uber even make money now?
Meta put billions of dollars into the metaverse for like 1,000 users. 1,000 users. They put billions of dollars into it.
And the other one they did it to Huawei as well. Like they basically.
And then you have the cherry on top, the final thing that sort of pushes this all together, that brings in those last holdouts you need from the Democrats, and that is the kids are spreading pro-Palestinian videos on TikTok. So we need to shut that shit down. And you hear them talk about misinformation, disinformation. Listen, that's my beat. I cover that. I cover misinformation, disinformation. Is it on TikTok? Is there misinformation on TikTok? Of course there is. You know why? Because there's fucking misinformation on every single one of these platforms.
Yeah. Plus, like a lot of the TikTok misinformation is
Facebook is the worst offender of all this. You don't see anyone out there trying to get Facebook to get banned.
And the misinfo they were doing is actually like stuff that also benefits like Republicans, but of course not that much compared to like Facebook, but still, and like or right wing in general, because they're actually not controlling the algorithm to make people think that China's some really awesome place or whatever the hell they're saying. It's just a random algorithm that they don't really understand, but they have some parameters that they move around and hope for the best.
Right. I mean, it just so happens that they got the best algorithm out there in terms of giving people what they want. I mean, that's where the lobbying from the big tech companies come into play. They can't figure out TikTok's secret sauce, and so they want to take it down. I mean, it's that simple. It comes down to
I've heard that it's weirdly like if you enter a niche, then you're sort of stuck there, and you just keep.
Right, that's the thing. Like, the algorithm, that TikTok algorithm is obviously good in certain aspects, but it also has its flaws, just like every other one of these companies.
It's really good at holding your attention, but in a worse way. I feel like with YouTube Shorts, for example, because the diversity just stops. It's like you like this stuff, we'll feed you 1,000 of this stuff, and if you show any disinterest even suddenly, then we'll switch it up. And then, 1,000 of this other thing now.
And I mean, listen, if you want to complain about all the pro-Palestinian content on there, IDF soldiers fucking love putting their war crimes up on there. I mean, they can't get enough of it. They just they got
that's another reason. Like
they got their own. They got their own. I don't think anyone in Congress is smart enough to look at it to take it that angle.
Not Congress. I mean, someone in Israel is probably sitting there thinking like. They probably support the genocide, and they're just thinking.
Listen,
like,
the most
what is wrong with these soldiers?
The most pro-Palestinian content I've seen on TikTok has nothing to do with Palestinian activists talking about Palestine and Gaza. The most pro-Palestinian content I've seen on TikTok are all those videos of IDF soldiers posting themselves holding up the displaced Palestinian woman in Gaza's lingerie and holding it up on their bodies.
And there was this
being
video
fucking
they released.
bizarre about it, being like total sexual predators about it. It's just the most disgusting thing I've seen, honestly.
I mean, they weren't this stupid to post it themselves, but someone, Al Jazeera got like a body cam like Israeli soldiers, and they were just like standing there, not really fighting anyone. And then they were talking about how they killed this old man. I mean, it's gone around.
I
And they're
saw
like,
that. Yes.
the guy was begging, and the soldier was saying, let's just destroy this building as well for no reason.
Hold on,
Like
I see. Hold on, in the chat, I see that Chris Corcoran says, even Marjorie Taylor Greene of all people voted no to this bill. Here's the thing about that. Funny enough, conservatives like the MAGA right or
Yeah.
like the libertarian right wing, like Thomas Massey, for example, they're arguing against this bill because and part of this is true that they say this is a it's not just going to affect TikTok. This basically gives the U.S. government the ability to ban any app that it deems a national security threat, just outright. And that's true. This is obviously a bill created around TikTok, but it's not specifically for TikTok. But they're going further than just that. They're claiming that it's actually a bill meant to take down Elon Musk's X and Rumble.
I was hoping for that.
And Rumble. And I can guarantee you that's not the case
yeah,
here.
yeah,
No,
because
like,
they've done
give me
this
a
with
break.
Huawei. The Huawei was getting too big. It was like it had become the second best selling after Samsung in the world, not just in the US. And Apple was really worried that it'll start cutting into sales in the US as well, which is its biggest market. And it started lobbying not just in the US, everywhere. Oh, Huawei is a national security threat somehow. I'm still not sure how. And then they got it removed from so many countries. There was the whole extradition fiasco with Canada, which soured Canadian and Chinese relationships for a while. That entire episode happened because they were afraid of competition, like the people who talk about competition all the time. It's a different country. Like no other country can compete with the US in this way, unless like some by off chance, like maybe in 20 or 30 years, India maybe is big enough to compete. But and they were doing this
another
before
thing
as
I
well,
love.
like,
You just reminded me with what you were saying. Another thing I love are the people who are like, oh, China bans U.S. tech companies. Google and Facebook can't operate in China. Look, they even have their own version of TikTok in China, and it's like, hold on. So you're saying like China, the evil authoritarian regime that runs things authoritarianly, is doing something. So we, the U.S., the bastion of freedom, should replicate what they are doing? No, that's the stupid. Like, are you fucking stupid? We should let in the most basic way. We should allow TikTok to be fine here because we are the U.S. and we let companies and apps from any country come and run here because that's who we are.
Yeah,
I also love the priorities. How rich foreigners from China, for example, who obviously, if you're super rich
can buy land.
China, yes, that's what I was just gonna say. But like, obviously, if you're super rich like that in China, you obviously have ties to the CCP in some way. So, but they're allowed to come here and buy up as much fucking land as they want, something that actually affects American lives in a very real way, driving up the costs for everybody else. They're allowed to come here and do that. No one's stopping that. No one's stopping them. That's fine. But a tech company in China can't build an app that the U.S. User base uses. It's fucking pathetic. It's pathetic. It's pathetic.
What's funnier is that the US forced TikTok to separate the TikTok of China and the TikTok of, because they were like, it was the same arguments they used.
It was the same entity. Yes, it was the same entity running both. I mean, TikTok started working with Oracle, a US based company, specifically to say like, listen, our data is not in the data for TikTok is stored in the US. This U.S. based company, Oracle, is overseeing it. But
every time their CEO, the ByteDance's CEO, not whatever the Chinese company is called, Baidu or whatever they are.
ByteDance.
No, ByteDance is the big one, right? But there's like a Chinese local one, which I don't know what they're called. But the ByteDance's CEO, he's Singaporean.
Duowan or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Duowan. I can't say. It's
yeah.
something with
Yeah.
something of that
He's not.
nature.
He's never been to, like, I don't think, maybe he's been to China. I don't know, but he's not Chinese. He's from Singapore, and they're like the most
Oh, the
racist of
CEO,
every
the
time
CEO.
they-
Oh,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
talking.
they're-
You're talking about the TikTok China app. That's
yeah,
what I
I
was
was
saying.
about
No,
that.
you're talking
Just
about the
mentioned it for
TikTok
a bit.
CEO. No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know
that's
about CEO.
yeah,
The
yeah.
ByteDance CEO. That guy is not related to China. He has no connection to the CCP, and he's just there dumbfounded at like the open, like, it's like this old school racism that you just have against. He's just sitting there like, and he has to repeat 30 times, "I'm not Chinese. I'm not Chinese. I'm Singaporean. I
Right.
have nothing to do with the CCP." And that's the only hearings they have with TikTok. Whereas like they were asking questions with Facebook about like, I remember when they brought these. There's still stupid questions they ask other CEOs, but they were like, "Oh, so your Facebook?" They were asking about like, your app helped people like radicalize these people, and they did these things here, and like actual stuff that matters. And then they went to TikTok, and they're like, "Oh, the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, are you sending data?" And they kept repeating it again and again.
Right.
It's
You know what's amazing? If this is really about foreign data concerns with China, I think it's very interesting that they're specifically going after TikTok and not after all these new China-based e-commerce companies like Temu or a long-standing one, Alibaba. These are
AliExpress.
China AliExpress, right? These are China-based e-commerce companies that literally get your financial data, credit card information. They get your home address. They have business dealings with companies all across the U.S. These are companies obviously who are basically providing products for entire industries, dependent on these China-based suppliers who work with Alibaba or AliExpress to basically supply product for entire U.S. industry. That's not a problem. We're not worried about all that data. We're not worried about putting all that control in the hands of the CCP. Of course not, because it's not about that. It's not about that. They do not like that young people and even older people are using TikTok in a way that they deem problematic to their own ideological viewpoints.
Plus, they don't like any like they did it with Japan in the 90s, where like they were like seriously considering banning Toyota, for example, because they thought Japan was going to be the next big one. And another weird thing is, if you look at the investors of Facebook, Meta, which is Meta, Apple, ABC, whatever, then you look at the investors. A lot of them are like Saudi royals,
Right.
UAE royals,
Right.
people from China, like these same billionaires who have invested in TikTok, are the same investors who have invested in everything else as well.
Right.
And like,
I'm honestly so tired of the anti-China sentiment. It's obviously, obviously the Chinese government, I've said it a million times now, is an authoritarian government. It's not, they call themselves the Chinese Communist Party, just they're not communists. They are run by
they're not
capital.
socialists.
They're not socialists. There are plenty of big business in China. There are lots of very wealthy businessmen in China. There are lots and lots of poor people and oppressed people in China. It is not a good situation in China whatsoever, but I'm so tired of the demonization of China and Chinese people in this country. I find it to be totally gross. The complete truth is that neither the U.S. or China, with the way the world works in 2024, neither country can succeed without the other. It's that simple. We are tied at the hip.
Another one is
one cannot exist without buying from one. One cannot exist without selling to one. It is that simple. It is that simple.
Yeah. Another one is that none of like the actual critiques you can make of China, the US, not the like not at any level the US is making those critiques. Like at best, the only good thing that the US actually does against China is keep Taiwan safe, and that's it. Nothing else the US has done has is actually against like China's authoritarianism. It's not against the CCP. It's not against any of that. It's just about like own their own private interests in like these
Right.
businesses or
Right.
like their own politics of like they don't like what's happening on TikTok.
Right.
And
Also,
and
it's
they
so
forgo.
it's so
Yeah.
stupid to be feuding with China specifically right now, as everything that's unraveling across the world is happening. Like, do you really
Yeah.
want, like, while we have this going on with Russia, do you really want
Yeah.
to up the ante with feuding with China as well? Like, it's such a
And
fucking stupid
then
move.
yeah, and then the second one is Iran. For some reason, the US has decided that it will always screw over Iran for whatever reason and never like approach Iran as like a foreign country that you can negotiate and deal with, even though diplomatically Iran has been much better than most of like the US allies, so-called allies in that region. Like Iran has been better than Saudi Arabia, more good faith than Saudi Arabia. Iran has been better than Israel for, Iran has been better than Pakistan, more good faith than Pakistan. Iran has been better than India, more good faith than India. But just because for whatever reason, the US just decides that no, we can't have Iran. Like we're not going to negotiate with Iran. And then Obama does something finally. Same with Cuba. Obama does something with Cuba and Iran. And then suddenly Trump nukes it, and then Biden doesn't go back to it. And I don't understand. I didn't understand back then, but a part of me just suspects that Biden's weird Zionism prevented him from going back to Iran because he had like a few months where he could have acted, where he decided to do nothing. And I'm not sure whether that's incompetence, negligence, or like there was something about his weird Zionism and he was talking to people in Israel and that sort of thing because Israel needs the US to be antagonistic towards Iran. Otherwise, the US wouldn't have any reason to support Israel.
Right. No. Yeah.
like
That's
like like Saudi Arabia and Iran's relationships normalize. They were normalizing a bit. I don't know where they are right now. And then if the US normalizes with Iran, then Israel is like just this troublemaker that's left behind. And Israel doesn't want that.
yes.
They want a big bad evil, and that's Iran for them.
Right. No, that's a huge part of it. Absolutely. Um, Osama, great call. This was a really great
Yeah.
conversation. I wanted to talk about the TikTok thing, but it was good to have someone to go back and forth with it instead of just doing a monologue on it. So I appreciate the
Yeah.
call and bringing it up. It's always
And
easier to talk to someone about any
yep,
topic than
that's
just
true.
to go off the cuff.
Uh,
But
uh,
I could do
yep.
both.
Yeah, no, you have the talent for it. You've been doing it professionally. I have wanted to, if it's possible, come
Nope.
for a bit
Goodbye. No,
on.
I'm joking. Go ahead.
Yeah,
What were
no.
you gonna say?
I'm saying I come a bit on the leftist mafia to talk about the Baloch thing even a little bit.
Yes.
It's cooled
Let's
down. Yeah,
let's
yeah,
set
yeah.
let's set that up in the coming. We got guests for the next 2 or 3 weeks, I think. So
I mean,
let me reach out to them and find out when our
yeah,
next opening is. All right.
yeah. I guess a quick update. Now it's like election-wise, Pakistan is stabilized. It's like the status quo is back, and then but there are floods happening in the Balochistan area. So misery just keeps it never gets better.
Right. No, that's. I feel like there are a lot of people who can say it just never gets better. But
Yeah, there was
you're
I'm not going to
you're
mention the streamer because there's a lot of streamers that have like people get way too excited about. But a streamer joke that same with Haiti, right? It's not some the US screwing it or France. It's some natural disaster. It's like
one
there,
reason
there,
one reason that I actually am seriously gonna probably join TikTok now. I mean, I actually have a TikTok account that has a decent
yeah.
amount of followers because I used it many years ago just to like I threw up like dumb like little like clips just to see how it worked. and it
Yeah.
just like amassed like a couple thousand subscribers or whatever. But I didn't use my name. It wasn't like Matt Binder or anything. But I'm probably
Oh,
gonna rename it Matt Binder, and
yeah.
then just use that account and like remove all like the silly videos, but and start anew on it. It's like start fresh on it. But I'm serious about it now because I don't know if people noticed, probably not, but I've noticed for myself obviously because I'm the one posting. I've been posting less on social media, and not just Twitter because of what Elon Musk has done to Twitter. I haven't been posting that much on Blue Sky or Threads. And
Oh, yeah.
honestly, with like what's been going on in the world and people's reaction to it, just like everything is just for, for a viral moment that you get or whatever. Like I just haven't been interested in posting, and I just feel like it's because like via text, I'm not like getting across what I think could be better put across in like video on TikTok or on
I mean,
YouTube,
yeah.
for example. I mean, that's why I haven't like pulled back on doing live streams. I'm doing my 2 live streams a week, every week, but like, and I haven't lost like the urge to do that. But like, I have to like force myself to post on Twitter. There was a few days in a row where I just didn't post anything, and I was just like, I don't feel like posting. I don't want people like, I don't need people like fucking like, I don't care about replies and stuff. I don't even read my replies anymore on Twitter or whatever. I don't care about the content of the replies. It's like just people shitting on like for example, I tweet something about Palestine and Israel, and people like making a joke about like what's happening to people in Gaza, like, and I don't mean like a joke that gets across a very good point about what's going on. I mean people just like literally shitting on Palestinians. It's like what do you like what?
No, it's because
I don't want to add to that. Like it's just been
the
like I don't
worst
feel
people
like
are
putting
just
that.
there.
I don't feel like even like giving them the meat to go off on that on. Like it's just
Yeah.
like fucking like.
You
Yeah.
know about Bow of the Fifth Column, right?
I do, yes.
Yeah, I feel like those sorts of videos where you just sit down and you do like a 4-minute quick take and then or something like that. That could be, I guess, a replacement for just text.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
something,
I'll probably do something. I'll maybe even do some, you know,
and you can
maybe,
cross post on, of course, Instagram,
right.
YouTube,
Yeah,
and
it's honestly made me want to build up like on Instagram and like,
TikTok.
and on TikTok and on YouTube too. Cause like the dynamic of how people use your content isn't the same. Like
Yeah,
you can't just like, jump off using someone else's content to like go viral, like to like, I mean, in many ways I loved Twitter for that reason. I mean, that's what I did to a lot of right wingers for years. But
yeah.
like to me, there's a huge difference between doing that when there's a literal like fucking genocide going on. Like I'm not getting the same joy out of it, honestly. Even when I'm doing it to other people, like it's not.
I mean, it's
not,
also like
it's not fun.
the proportions are off as well. Like a lot of the people are like those weirdos now, or you'll just get those bots.
Renee
And
says
this-
Renee says Matt finally found his limit. You know what? I've said for many years, like I don't care about right wingers being, not banned or brought back to Twitter, because for me, I enjoy shitting on them and covering them, and that's still the case. That's not what I'm complaining about. I could do that all day. I'm completely desensitized to all of that.
That's what
I
use
can
Twitter
go for, and I'm in a position of privilege, obviously, because of who I am and my background, that I can do that. I totally understand people who don't feel that way, but I have found my limit, and my limit is I just can't take people being killed and slaughtered in Gaza, and then seeing people take it so lightly and just not care. I think that is my limit. That's finally my limit. I've seen a lot, and this is what I've been demoralized by, honestly. This is my limit. I'm demoralized by it, honestly. It has destroyed me since October. I've been an absolute wreck. Because of I can't. It's just been really hard. And I was able to do it for, and then I took a break in December during like that holiday week of Christmas and New Year's to be with my kids. And once I broke the spell of being on there, I was like, I feel good. Like, why would I, like, I could not, I had to force myself to post again because it's part of my, like, it's my job. I got to do it.
I mean,
It's
yeah,
also,
that's the difference.
but like, it's been like, I thought I could handle anything and everything. I thought I saw it all. And I've seen some pretty sick stuff on the internet before. I've seen death and murder and horrible things online. It all, I've seen shit.
I feel like,
But seeing it happen to children multiple times a day, every day, and no end in sight, it is something that I'm saying this not for pity or empathy. Please, that's for the people actually going through it. I'm just saying this as to explain why I'm not posting online as much, because my personal limit, it's getting there. It's getting there.
it's not, it's not even like as useful. Like since it's not my job, I can just do whatever in terms of how I use Twitter. So if I make nowadays, if I'm making fun of someone, I just mute them afterwards, and then I kept muting and mute. I hadn't muted anyone before, like the whole Elon thing, and now the list kept growing and growing, and now I don't know if the base is that big on people who still use Twitter, because I just see random posts and, oh, this is muted, 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 muted. So it's just people I know who are like actually good people, and then Palestinians who I sort of follow, or like some random wrestler or whatever. And then, oh, it's muted, muted, or some random crazy person. Oh, I'm gonna mute this person now, and that's it. Like, there's no like the use case of actually like meeting random people, or like it escaping the Twitter bubble is ending as well, kind of.
Oh yeah, Twitter is there's two well, not just two, but the main types of Twitter users I see now are people who are already established in the political space talking, like, not even people just work, like people who are involved in talking about politics and commenting on politics. That ranges from like shit posters to like obviously journalists and politicians. And then like tech people selling their software as a service. Like that's
bots, and so
those
many
are
bots,
those
so
are and the bots. Those are the
many
Twitters
bots.
I see. And obviously there's sports Twitter still.
Yeah,
live
I mean,
event
like before it was like, it was never big Twitter, because it was only like 300 million at its prime or something.
Right, but like
but
used
it
to,
was like,
but Twitter used to be like, oh, you meet someone new, oh, make friends.
oh, and
on
yeah,
Twitter.
and
it's
it
not the
went to
case
like,
anymore.
it went to like first, because journalists cared about it so much for some reason, it went to like it escaped the Twitter bubble and then went to the news cycle for whatever reason in many countries.
And I know. Listen, and I know Threads and Blue Sky have their place, and I think they've obviously carved out niches for themselves. They aren't. I hate when people say they're irrelevant. No one goes there, because it's not true. If you even go there for a second, you can see that there are specific communities that use those platforms.
Yeah.
But the issue is none of those platforms have any effect on the news cycle the way Twitter still does. News isn't breaking on Threads. News isn't breaking on Blue Sky. News still breaks on Twitter, unfortunately, and until that breaks, the media, that's why that and live sports. Those are the two reasons Twitter is still mainstream, because news still breaks on Twitter. A, and then B, there has been no platform that has been able to take the place of Twitter when it comes to people who want to come together to discuss live sports or even live events like the Oscars. Until a platform takes the place of Twitter for that purpose, then Twitter is still going to be what it is.
For the first thing, it's kind of decreasing, like news breaking on Twitter, but nothing's replacing it. Like, it's not like, oh, news breaking on Twitter has decreased, but news breaking on this specific site has increased. So it's like just becoming more of a vacuum, and no one's filling that niche.
Right.
It's just losing the niche itself.
Right. Well, Usama, great call. Really appreciate it. We went pretty long. I thought it was a great call. I like it. 45 minutes.
I mean, it was pretty good.
Have a great night, my friend. I'm going to take a few more calls before the end of the show.
Remember to, I guess, discuss it with the other hosts, because I know my memory sucks. So reminding people.
Right. Yes, I will.
Yes. Okay, have a good one.
Peace. All right. Let's go back to the phones. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, it's Tokyo Hans.
Hey, Tokyo Hans. Could I pull up your video on the feed?
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
First caller of the day so far to use their video camera. What did they talk about?
Oh, that's right. First, what is it called? Happy whatever Ramadan Mubarak to all of our Muslim friends out there.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And yeah, I just wanted to call in real quick. I just wanted to show off my.
I
new
think I
kafia.
may be the first person to ever reply to someone saying "Happy Ramadan" to with me go with the reply "Hell yeah."
It's supposed to be a really
Yes,
solemn occasion, isn't it? Or
I
something very
realized
quiet.
that. I realized that after I said it. But I agree. Happy Ramadan to all of my Muslim listeners, viewers, or anyone who acknowledges it. Maybe family members who take part. Yeah. Happy Ramadan to them too.
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to call in real quick. Just I see a lot of people who are trying to get like kafia related items and everything, and I wanted to recommend a place called West Bank Apparel. It's run by Palestinians.
I actually did want to get a nice. I've wanted one for quite a long time. Just never actually knew a legit place to get it. I haven't really looked into it either, but I know what is it called? West Bank Apparel.
Yeah, just look that up and it should pop up right up. They're a great company. It's run by Palestinians, and all the things you order, they give I think they give like at least a meal to somebody in Palestine.
Oh, and very very reasonably priced. Wow.
Yes, it's not bad at all.
Usually, like these smaller apparel businesses do have to, mark up the prices because they can't buy their items in bulk like bigger companies. But these are that's not the case here in terms of pricing.
Not at all. Yeah, it cost me more to get it shipped over to Japan, but yeah, and it doubled the price of what it cost for buying this itself. But they give you a little something extra as well in the little box, a little gift or something, which is nice. But another thing I wanted to talk about is like when I got this.
Do they have just the classic kafia? I'm looking right now.
I'm not sure. I didn't look at. I just wanted to get the beanie itself. This is what I really wanted to get. I didn't really look at the rest of the store.
Yeah, I
but
don't think they do, unfortunately. Yeah.
it's more. Yeah, it's just the other apparel. They don't have the actual like the scarf or anything, I believe.
Got it. There's some nice stuff here though.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
looking right now.
I mean,
Everyone should check it
even
out.
if it's like a small thing, like a wristband or something, it's just something to support it. Support that would be nice.
Right.
And I just want to tell a little story about how when I got this and everything, and I'm trying to support it as much as often as I can when I'm out. And I call my parents every weekend, and I accidentally discovered that they are Zionist from wearing this. And
Really? How'd
yeah.
that happen? How'd that come up?
I have no. They saw this and they're like, "Why do you look like a terrorist?" And
Oh my God.
that was really shocking for me. And I decided to maybe disown my family, and well, not my family, but at least my parents. And I was wondering if Binner Dad is looking to adopt a 40-year-old son. So,
But how? What are they? Are they religious? Are they like hardcore evangelicals or something? What's?
not really. They're kind of quiet, I guess, politically and everything. I don't know. I've never had this kind of conversation or anything with them. They're, my mother's like super Catholic and everything, but yeah,
I gotta say, the Catholics that I know have not been very pro-Israel this time around.
yeah,
I don't know if they were before, but I'm talking about older people too. They are not liking this. They think what they're seeing is bad. So I don't know. I think they might be. Your parents might be on the outskirts. I've even seen some polling where Catholics are among the various Christian or even just religious groups in general. Not even just Christian, but of all the religious groups, Catholics are up there as like. I think one of, if not the most, pro-Palestine in this latest, since the October 7th began.
Yeah, definitely. Not yet. Of course, my mother, she's also Mexican, which, you would think, they know a lot about being victims of
All the
imperialism
all
and
the
everything.
all the Latinos I know very pro Palestine. I don't know what's
Yeah,
going on there
it's
either.
this is it's beyond shocking for me. But I'm just curious, have you had any experiences with like family or friends that who turned out to be secret Zionists?
No, I don't really. I mean, obviously, I live in New York,
Yeah.
and there are Israeli people that I come across who are obviously Zionist, but no one that I've in my personal life that's you know even Israeli people that I just know have known in my past life that I still follow on social media, but Israeli as in like Israeli American, like they were lived here for most of their life. They haven't even really talked about it at all. Just stayed away from it altogether. So I haven't really no one and that so that's even like on the most like that's the most hardcore right I've seen in terms of people in my life. Everyone I know is very pro Palestine. My I don't know how much my mom knows about what's going on. My dad, obviously, and he's a Jewish man in his boomer, and he's not thrilled with Israel. He's not pro Israel at all. So I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't have the same experience to share with you. I'm sorry.
And I see
I'm
in the
trying to.
chat that
I'm really
your
trying to
dad says
think
it's
of
okay
like.
for him to adopt me, so I'm glad there.
There you
So
go. My as far as I know, my dad has enough kids with 4. So, but if he wants to take on another one, I mean, that's not my business.
all right, thanks, Matt. I just wanted to call in and talk about that real quick. And keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate it. I'm sorry about that.
No,
I would love for you to find out more about how that even happened. What did they?
yeah,
What media they're consuming? What? Because you said they're not real. You never even considered like it's not like my parents are right wingers in like been in it for a long time. It was not surprising. You said you were legitimately shocked. So it seems like the fact that they even cared is also shocking to you, let alone their position on it.
yeah. I honestly have no clue. They don't watch Fox or any of that kind of nonsense.
You don't gotta watch Fox for this one.
Yeah, and they're not really internet savvy. They're just I don't know. That's just I don't know where it came from whatsoever.
All right.
So, but yeah, that's about it. I'll try to talk to them, try to see where that's coming from, but it could just be like not really like Zionism, but I guess like like Islamophobia or something. Just them going through the whole Iraq and Afghanistan debacle and all those years. It just stuck with them, I guess, because they're old. I don't know. I'm gonna eventually talk to them about that.
Yeah. Well, I wish you luck to find out
Thank you.
and finding out more. And it's not easy when you find out your parents are rabid right wingers.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Matt. And one more thing. When did you get that nose ring? Everybody's kind of been curious about that.
Oh, they are. Oh, I
Yeah.
just recently, not
Oh,
long ago. I'm not a big piercing guy. I'm more of a tattoo guy. But this is the one that I always thought, I would lould good with, and I think it
oh.
looks good.
I hear that's the most painful one. How was it?
No, it wasn't at all. I mean, I went on a scale from like 1 to 10, maybe like a 4. I've also had my ears pierced, but that's a long time ago, many years ago. It's still pierced. I just don't really put anything in it all that often. But or when I do have something in it, you can't even see because my hair. But it was like a scale of 1 to 10, like a 4 maybe. Problem is, I was talking to the guy about it. It's like a lot of people don't know, even piercers who don't know exactly where to pierce. There's a spot that you have to get, and if you miss that spot, you did it wrong and it hurts.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. There's a question from Caleb Friedenfeld. Sorry, they are asking what the politics in Japan are on this. The Japanese have been calling for a ceasefire from the set out. There's a lot of protests over here, which I've joined as well. yeah, Japan is like on the right side of things here over on this issue.
Right. I also saw, I think it was Japan. I saw a video going around of a bunch of Zionists harassing a pro-Palestine protester in Japan.
Yeah.
And they're telling him what he can do in his, like, these are like tourists from who knows where. They sounded maybe like they were Israeli based on their accent, but clearly not Japanese. And they're telling this guy he can't protest for the Palestinians in his home country. Like, the nerve to be a tourist in another country and do that.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. No, that's like some ultra, imperialism right there. All right. Well, thanks, Matt. Just wanted to get that off of my chest, and thanks to all the support in the chat and everything. Take it easy. Have a good day.
Take care. Great conversation. Great talk, Tokyo. Hans. Peace. I didn't realize that my piercing was a topic of conversation in the chat. Let's go to the back to the phones. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, Matthew. This is independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy calling.
Oh, RFK Jr. Easily my favorite caller over the past few months. These calls have been fantastic. We were talking about you a little bit earlier about you floating a potential VP pick in Aaron Rodgers.
That's true. I mean, between him and Governor Jesse Ventura, it's going to be a real difficult choice, I think.
Jesse Ventura would actually be a good pick. I would, if you weren't on the ticket, I would consider voting for a Vice President Jesse Ventura.
Well, that wouldn't be the deal there, Matthews. Don't try and be a wise guy to me. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has some very interesting views on vaccines and several other important policy issues, which we're going to have to be tackling in the next 4 years.
Yeah. What is what are you talking about? Give me an Aaron Rodgers perspective on some of these hot issues, these important issues.
He's already said the vaccines are very dangerous. And
wait, his views on vaccines are very dangerous, you said?
Well, I mean, he knows about how dangerous the vaccines are.
Oh, right.
and we're working out the other policy positions with him, as well as Governor Ventura, who's been very, very helpful to the campaign behind the scenes. I really don't like to talk about it too much.
Wait, Jesse Ventura's have been helping you out?
Yes, with some of my wrestling moves.
Oh,
since the politics has become very much like WWE, I figured I would get some wrestling tips from Jesse Ventura, Governor Ventura.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. It's a good idea, actually.
Yes.
I'm sort of, is Jesse Ventura like? I don't think he's an anti-vaxxer, is he?
Well, no, but I just don't listen to him about those issues.
Okay, and isn't he like? He seems like more on the.
Well, he's very much in favor of freedom, and that's an important thing for the We the People Party. It's a very difficult line to
like. I just want to. I'm looking at this article from late 2020, where Jesse Ventura basically attacked the people who refused to wear masks, said that this is, now he sees how Hitler could have won because people here wouldn't make a sacrifice and wear a mask during a pandemic. Seems like a guy who wouldn't fit on your campaign, honestly. Oh, I don't know.
Well, I'll have to take that under advisement, Matthew. Thank you for looking that up because I haven't been able to. They've been so busy on the campaign trail that I haven't been able to be doing some of the research as far as that goes. But regardless, we had a big win last week. I'm sure you saw it was headlines in all the mainstream media and even the non-mainstream media.
Oh yeah, what I missed it. What
A big win in Nevada.
you won in Nevada?
We got on the ballot in Nevada.
Oh, you just got on the ballot. Okay.
It's a bit. I mean, this is huge, Matthew.
How many ballots are you on?
Nevada. we're going to be working on North Carolina in the coming weeks. And,
Now, sir, you realize it's mid-March.
yes, well, once
The election is, let's see, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 7.5 months, give or take, away. That's running out of time, my friend. There's
Excuse me.
50. You realize there's 50 states, right?
Excuse me,
And DC.
excuse me. Once we get going, it's gonna. I mean, there's gonna be a momentum, a Kennedy momentum, if you will, and we're gonna be roll. I mean, once we get North Carolina, the states will just start coming in. They'll be begging my campaign to put me on the ballot. Very simple.
Boy.
Very simple.
Oh boy. I'm concerned for you, my friend. You're putting a lot of time and I'm assuming at least some money into this. And you're on one ballot? You're on one ballot?
I trust the American people who will be deciding whether I go on the ballot or not to put me on the ballot. It's very, very simple. Very simple.
You put a little bit. Listen, I get you running for president. You got to say nice things about the American people, but I would not put my trust in the American people to do that, especially.
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to address, I recently appeared on a podcast.
Did you? Was it this one?
No, not this one. It was another one where I was speaking, and I was asked about the Jeffrey Epstein plane trips.
Oh, I remember. This was a great moment. Please continue.
Well, I mean, when you're a famous person such as myself, it's very easy to meet up with some people, who you may not know what they're all about. So, just like Jeffrey Epstein, the 10 times I rode on his private jet, it was, I mean, simply just very innocuous trips. And you wind up meeting some very, very famous people. And I mean, I knew Harvey Weinstein. I knew Roger Ailes. I knew Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah, you did go through a list of all the very worst people in the world and said that in defense of you riding on Epstein's plane multiple times.
You say, excuse me, you say they're the worst people in the world. You didn't know them the way that I knew them. I mean,
oh, did you?
We had O.J. Simpson come to our house, Cheryl and I. We just kept him away from the cutlery is all. But he was a perfectly fine house guest. Bill Cosby came to my wedding, served as one of the groomsmen. Bernie Madoff gave me amazing investing advice. Back in the 60s, I was very good friends with Charles Manson. He has some very interesting political positions, which I was excited.
Whoa! Hold on 1 second. You were also friends with Charles Manson. Wait, what?
Jeffrey Dahmer cooked dinner for Cheryl and I. I'm not sure what it was, but it was rather good. I mean, the people you meet along the way when you're a famous person.
Oh, can we?
That's myself.
Can we rewind for a second? So wait, hold on. I did know about, you said Harvey Weinstein, and you had said O.J. Simpson. Some of these names are new. Can you repeat some of them? I'm sorry. I'm trying to take this in now. You said Charles Manson.
But I spoke to Charles Manson several times way back in the day before he heard
Where?
the Beatles song. It was at Woodstock, of course.
Okay. All right. You weren't. Hold on. You weren't there when. You weren't. No. You weren't there when Sharon Tate was murdered, were you?
No, of course not. No. I knew nothing about that plan. And if you try to say that I did, I'll absolutely deny it, because
Okay.
that's just something that I would never get involved in.
Got it. Okay.
Yes.
But you were there for one of Jeffrey Dahmer's
Well,
escapades, it sounds like.
how were Cheryl and I to know what we were being served? He was a perfectly fine.
How was the meal?
It was rather good. I'm not exactly sure what it was. He wouldn't tell us. He said it was mystery meat. So I thought it was stromboli. But it was seasoned very well, so it probably possibly could have been that. I'm not exactly sure.
All right. I mean, oof. Anyone else we should know about? Manson, Dahmer?
Well,
You didn't happen to hire John Wayne Gacy to perform at your kid's birthday party, did you?
just once. Just once. That's all. And it was a perfectly fine entertainer. He was a very, very entertaining. He made the balloon animals. Those. I mean, the skill to make those balloon animals is something. It's something not everyone can do. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I would say that's probably that's probably his what he was known for, right? He was very talented balloon animal artist.
That's why I hired him. And look, things happen, and people turn out to be not the same person that you know.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Right. You just have a real knack of picking them, don't you?
Look, when you're a famous Kennedy, you just can't help meeting some people who may later in life turn out to be creeps. Or
right. Any relations, any degree of separation with the BDK?
That's a K-pop group, isn't it?
No. Okay, good. You're unfamiliar with the BDK killer. So it's BTK. I'm sorry, my bad. I messed up. Maybe BDK is a K-pop group. BTK.
Look, I'm very up on these K-pop groups. They're very important to our young people, our young voters, which will be turning out in droves this fall.
All right. Well, I'm shocked that you had dinner with Dahmer. That's amazing.
I just want to be very clear and upfront with the American people. So I'll freely admit these things.
All right.
I did want to ask you if you wouldn't mind. I have a new radio ad that I'm going to be buying in several markets. And I wonder if I could play it over the phone for you. We'll see how this goes, if that's all right.
Oh, that'd be great. I'd love to hear it. Wow, a little sneak preview. This is a little bit of news right here.
Here we go.
Along with Charles Manson and John Wayne Gacy and Jeffrey Dahmer breaking some RFK Jr. news.
Here I go. Here we go. The new ad, I'm going to play it starting right now.
All right.
What has violence ever accomplished? What has it ever created? No martyr's cause has ever been stilled by an assassin's bullet. No wrongs have ever been righted by riots and civil disorders. A sniper is only a coward, not a hero. And an uncontrolled or uncontrollable mob is only the voice of madness.
How do you like it?
That's your father's speech the day after MLK Jr. was assassinated, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
But what's
Isn't
why?
it inspiring? I
I
really
mean, I think it served a very specific purpose
we're
after Dr. King was assassinated, but I don't know what the.
we're doing racial group outreach. Very serious. I'm taking it very seriously, and that's just one of the ads that we'll be putting forth. So you think what do you think, Matt? You think it's going to be a winner?
I don't think that's going to have the effect you think it will. But if you want to run it, I mean, you did run that previous ad that your family felt was inappropriate for you to run, and you did say you didn't mean to hurt their feelings, but then you kept running it anyway. So I don't know.
Screw them.
What?
Screw them. They're all jerks and idiots anyway.
All right. Well,
I think it'll be a winner. I think it'll be a winner, Matthew.
I think it could. Certainly weirder things have happened, but I would doubt it.
I just had an idea. How about if I come out with some limited edition RFK Jr. sneakers?
Well, all the other presidential candidates are doing it, so you might as well throw your hat in too. I mean, why not, right?
Probably should. I probably should. Plus, you'll be able to buy them with the RFK coin.
RFK coin.
Yes, it's my it's my new crypto venture. It's real. Type it in the thingy and you'll see, because I mean,
RFK coin. Wow, that's that is it a real thing? I have to look it up.
It is.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Type it into your thing there, and you'll see. Because I mean, if you think about it, the central banks are just a money printing machine, and Bitcoin is a hard currency. Transactional freedom is as important as freedom of speech, and you only get that from Bitcoin.
There is an RFK coin. Look at that. Not surprising. There's something for everyone.
You think I lie to you, Matthew? I'm not the orange man. I don't lie to you, Matthew.
Wow, you're going with the orange man thing. I wasn't expecting that. That's interesting.
Don't tell him I said that. Tape. Erase it from the tape, please.
I will say, though, the first thing that pops up when I typed in RFK coin is an official website for the United States Mint, the government website. And it's about the Robert F. Kennedy commemorative silver dollar, originally issued in the year 1998.
Well, luckily, if we advertise it as my coin, it'll just go up in value. I think we're going to make it I mean, it's going to be on the moon.
There you go.
A hotel, right? That's the Bitcoin lingo. Hotel.
Hodl.
Oh.
Close. You were close. Not hotel. Not hotel. Hodl.
It's a burgeoning technology, and I think the American people deserve an alternative to the central banks, which are just money printing machines. Whereas this Bitcoin, you can actually hold it in your hand.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you very much.
Have a great... Listen, RFK, really, I've been enjoying these calls. I look forward to them every week or every other week, whenever you do call in. Please, the presidential election's getting closer. I'd love to keep track of what you have to say and how your campaign's doing. Feel free to call in anytime.
You'll be the first to hear from me, Matthew. Thank you. Have a wonderful night to you and your audience. Thank you.
Have a great night. I gotta say, it is very difficult to take those calls because the RFK Jr. that calls on into the show is such a likable character. I would vote for this RFK Jr. This RFK Jr. would have my vote. It would be the easiest choice I've ever had to make. Fortunately, the RFK Jr. that we see out there is not the same RFK Jr. that we see on here. All right, let's go back to the phones. Hey. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Matt, this is Adam from San Diego. I haven't, a long time no talk. I called
Hey,
in.
Adam. Can I pull your video up on the feed?
Yeah, sure.
How you doing, Adam? What would you like to talk about?
Well, the last two times I called in, it was actually at the end of the year, and I was talking to you. I don't know if I know you talk to a lot of people and do a lot of journalism, but I was calling myself your boots on the ground anti-Zionist Jew reporter. And I was giving you updates on my experiences. And it's been some months, and I've been meaning actually to get back to you, but it's not like I have good news. So
Oh no, you're a Zionist now?
Yes. Yes, that is the problem, is that all of this protesting has caused me to believe in the validity of Israel's position. That's exactly what I called to tell you. Yeah.
No. I know I'm being silly, but what were you calling in to say? I'm assuming that I do want to hear this. What you were going to say for real.
Well, you may or may not, but
Okay. Oh boy.
if you I had been working with Jewish Voice for Peace here in San Diego, and I had spoken to you about that. We did either I spoke to you right after or right before we did a protest at a congressperson's office, and I have to say now, I guess I'll tell this a little bit in reverse. I have stopped working with them because they're civility libs. They're not. You can't get them to use words.
I do want to say I do think they do good work, but every local chapter is going to be a bit different. So I'm assuming.
Well, that's exactly right. It's organized out in New York. Jamming the whole subway system in New York, that's good work. I'm in San Diego, California, and it's a vertically structured organization. So we're not allowed to come up with our own ideas. The leadership's not allowed to come up with their own ideas. The membership's not allowed to talk. Like, it's disgusting in my opinion. But it's also that taking marching orders from what's going on in New York City, the furthest point opposite that in the nation, it isn't necessarily appropriate. And so I have an example of this to point out how feckless and libbed up I think they've become, which is that, I mean, I'm not going to go into the details that led to me parting ways with them, but this happened yesterday. Despite the fact that they know, that I'm not welcome to be part of their organizational team or anything like that, and which is strange because I've often asked them, wow, you guys really don't, you seem like I don't hear from you very often. You seem like you have some organizational problems. They're like, well, yeah, this is the busiest we've ever been. And I've said to them many times, hey, I have plenty of time. I have nothing to do but help you guys. Why don't you give me something to do? Never heard from them once. And months later, when I finally hear from them, I'm like, hey, where have you guys been? Well, we're very busy and we have a lot to do. We're really overwhelmed. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't work anymore. I already told you. I'm happy to help you, and none of your leadership took me up on that. So, I mean, you already know you're not dealing with a leftist organization because no leftist organization says no to free help. It's like they are doing a very specific thing, which is like, you can help us if we like you. And that's not leftism. It's civility libbers. I was going to get to what happened yesterday, but I don't want to just go on a run on thing.
No, it's been, I'm interested in hearing it, if you don't mind. You don't have to get into the into the weeds, but you could share a bit of a
no. This
summary.
this is I wouldn't do anything to. I'm not targeting any
Right. No, I don't
individuals
mean
here.
right. Just
Um,
like, basically, I guess what sort of like an example of something that sort of
well,
made you feel this way.
that's complicated. I mean, I am disabled, so most of what I'm able to do is limited to what I can do from this computer. And them hearing that did not make them think like, how can we make use of this person? That made them
Oh,
think
I see.
like, why aren't you showing up to eat shawarma in the park with us? Like, and
Oh,
my
right.
response is, because eating shawarma in the park doesn't do a fucking thing. I'm interested in getting shit done. Like,
I
so
hear
like
you saying. Like they
they're
could,
discriminating against
you're
me for not wanting to socialize. I'm not joining you to socialize. I'm joining you to take action.
right.
So it's
No, I see
stuff.
what you're saying. Like, listen, like, especially they could use somebody. Any sort of activist group could use somebody who is well versed with, you know, getting people to show up, via social media, like just getting the word out.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, I
something that.
understand. Like they'll have me as a body in spaces, but do they want to make use of the all day long I have to think and make phone calls and analyze this problem from a local perspective? No, no, because I don't say it politely. Um, so, as an example of that, where this is leading is yesterday, they haven't taken me off their action mailing list. So, yesterday, I got a protest notification that today we're going to do a big protest. We're really feeling, they're really feeling themselves. They're doing this in coalition with the Asian Youth Alliance, and this is going to be an important one. And you know what they're protesting? They're protesting two things that are across the street from each other. One is the San Diego Union Tribune newspaper, and across the street is the local district office of California Senator Alex Padilla. They happen to be across the street from each other. Now,
Well, I don't necessarily. I see what you're saying about the other stuff, but like, I would say like
there's
as a
more.
local, as a smaller local chapter, maybe they don't have. That's I'm not gonna. I don't want
No,
to.
I'm not saying that the intention here is bad, and they did it in alliance, in coalition with other orgs. The intent is good, but here's where the failure comes. I work with the San Diego Union Tribune. I've been featured in their paper. I have contacts at their paper. That office has been closed for 3 years. There is
Oh,
no one in that building.
that's a
Senator
problem, then.
Alex Padilla goes back and forth between Sacramento and Washington, D.C. There is no one in his office. They are, and this is a feel-good protest for yes,
Maybe they don't know though. You should reach out and let them know that.
Oh, believe me, I emailed them. I said, like, but I mean, I'm not going to be nice about them and be like, hey, why'd you kick out the only guy who seems to know what's going on in this city? Like, I could have saved you a lot of effort. Like, you're protesting empty buildings. That's what you're doing. And you want to tell me that I'm the ineffective member of this organization. So that's where I was going. Like
I totally get the the frustration. It's rough. Some people, again, this is a smaller chapter, so they might just not have the experience or anything. But it sounds like they could use you. Like they could use your help. Like it seems like obviously. So like if they don't want your help, if if there's like some sort of interpolitical reasoning, people wanting to remain in their position or control over whatever they're running, if that's the reason to not cede some ground to someone who has experience that could be helpful, I think that's definitely a problem. But yeah, I get your frustration.
Yeah. Well,
No, I totally understand. Like, I'm sure there might be people in the organization who share your frustration. You should reach out and see, and maybe.
Oh, they're deliberately organized in such a manner that none of us can contact each other. None of us can
That
contact
seems
the
weird.
leadership. The only way to contact the local chapter is through an email address. The only way to contact the national chapter is through an email address. You cannot actually get in touch to make a point to this organization, that was the last straw for me when I'm having these problems locally and the national doesn't care. Okay, like fine. Like I support their mission, I support their statement, but and I imagine like the New York chapter is much more active, much more radicalized, much more energetic, but like I live in the most conservative part of the bluest state, and like even our humanist synagogues, which if you go to Los Angeles and go to a humanist synagogue, they are actually atheists that are anti-Zionists. That's what humanist Judaism is supposed to be. Humanist Judaism in San Diego is we stand with Israel. Like, so it's unsurprising that this organization in this locale would be so libbed up and ineffective. But I know I'm not the only one out there who lives in a place where no matter how bad you want to do something to affect change, the opportunity just doesn't exist. And I guess I'm here to say you're not alone. I'm here to say, like, I'd like to do something about this. I'd like to find some way for community, which I talked about with you a few months ago. But beyond that, it's like, I think Hassan summed it up really well in a single sentence, which is if you're not willing to use the word genocide and you're not willing to use the word apartheid, are you really protesting? And JVP will not use either of those words. I mean, what is ceasefire now, Matt? What is ceasefire now? It's please stop killing people or I'm going to ask you to stop killing people again.
Well, Jewish Voice for Peace does. I'm looking right now. They do have on their website stop genocide against Palestinians in Gaza.
Those are photos on their website that could be any other protesters from many other organizations. I know what official JVP protest posters look like, and they do not use that language. Those people could be from Not in Our Name, or if not now, they could be from Arabic.
This is on the Jewish Voice for Peace website.
I have seen that, yes, but I do not believe those are JVP members in that photo because I know what the messaging is for the organization. I've protested with them. I could be wrong though. I mean, what do I know?
No, I'm just I'm listening. I just trying to look this up myself because I did not realize that if that's the case. Great call though. I was always interested to hear how things are going and what issues people have and in terms of like areas where groups can be doing more proactive work or listen, activism is messy. It's going to have its problems. There are going to be also personalities that clash, people who view this as something that they want to take control over, take charge of. They want it to be their thing. There are all sorts of things that get in the way with activism that before you even get to the actual thing, topic, or policy that the activism is even about. So
social politics and all of these things.
Yeah.
And I guess lastly, before we wrap up and you move on, I'll mention, the reason I haven't come to follow up about any of this is that there's a certain reality we have to reckon with, no matter how you're protesting, no matter what your form of action is, whether it's hosting a platform like you do, or whether it's all you do is go just protest all day long, whatever your role is in the war. Nobody's listening. And Netanyahu's made it exceptionally clear that nobody's listening by saying, "I'm going to do this anyway. Fuck you." So, like,
I do think it's important that people, do what they're doing. I think it's important to, I think the reason we do see such a change in opinion here is also partially because of people talking about this and being out there and putting it in people's faces. And I do think the public opinion on this is becoming too hard to ignore, at least for politicians in the U.S. You do see that changing. Again, it's not enough.
one can hope.
But it is. We're not anywhere near where we were, 4 or 5 months ago. Like, this is, Biden. We'll see what happens here and what he actually does. But he's declared that his red line that would make him consider changing the relations with Israel in terms of the supplying weapons and stuff is if they invade that ground. They do that ground invasion in Rafah. So I mean, we'll see.
Well, yeah,
he wouldn't have dared to say that just a few weeks ago, even. But I think that uncommitted vote has them a bit worried. And that uncommitted vote wouldn't be possible if you didn't have activist groups out there making it possible.
Yeah, it's a struggle, and especially as an older person, asking yourself, okay, I pushed hard for 5-6 months, and I have seen X results. Where's the value judgment that how much harder is it worth pushing versus the results of that push? And I feel like that's probably a lot of people who've been protesting the last 6 months are struggling with that feeling right now.
Yeah, but that's the way it is. Unfortunately, I mean, protest has always been that way. Sadly, it's.
Do you mind if I ask your opinion about something else related to this?
Sure,
since I'm
go ahead.
here?
Feel free.
So is it the reason in my own analysis, and in talking with Muslims actually about this, my feeling, based on the efficacy of the anti-apartheid movement, and that it worked and made them stop, that our government is I just view the means of protest and civil unrest at our disposal aren't any significantly different than they were in 1970, except that we have smartphones. And don't you think that our government is, the powers that be, whomever they are, have figured out how to ignore this specific set of protest tactics a long time ago when they realized they were dangerous?
I mean, you're right in terms of, things haven't changed that much in terms of the type of direct action people take. And, obviously smartphones and social media are new tools. But from that same angle, though, what politicians are worried about hasn't changed either. They don't want a mass amount of people getting together and causing problems. They don't want a conscious effort to vote them out of office. Those are fear tactics that still work. So I see what you're saying, but also the game, so to say, hasn't really changed either. So why, like what, like you don't really need to. I mean, I don't know what more people can do. Like that too. Like I don't know what sort of new tactic we could come up, people could come
No,
up with.
I
But
agree with you, and I sort of defeated my own argument in the fact that I said the only difference exists is the smartphones. Smartphones, it means visibility to a level that did not exist in 1970. It means massive
right, it's
visibility.
definitely a big deal. But I mean, I see what you're saying in terms of it is a tool though in the big picture. Like it's not, it's not something that oh, we don't protest physically at targeted places because we got smartphones now. We do it completely differently. Like obviously it is a tool that has massively changed it, but at its very base, its very foundation, protest is still the same. You do need that physical bodies in a place that make people in power feel uncomfortable. That hasn't changed.
Yeah, I can see that part. I guess that's probably the most optimistic thing on the topic anybody said to me in quite a while, to be frank with you.
I mean, however depressing you see the current situation, and it's super depressing. This is definitely the worst it's been. The worst it's been in decades. There, at the same time, the pro-Palestinian sentiment is unlike it's in the U.S. is unlike it's ever been before. And that wouldn't have happened if there weren't activist groups and people out there for decades laying the foundation in terms of this is what's going on. It's not right and it's not okay. And, and now we're here. The biggest problem right now is that the people in power, our Congress people, are not in tune with the vast majority of people on this topic. It is poll after poll after poll. It's not an anomaly. It's not one poll is off or, the focus group was tainted in this poll. This is poll after poll after poll after poll. The majority of people are not okay with Israel doing this. They are, even the people who aren't explicitly pro-Palestinian,
yeah,
in those surveys, say Israel is doing too much. They're wrong here.
And what's even more bizarre is that the only body of the only demographic of the government that is actually holding up weapons to Israel are Senate Republicans. Those are the ones who are preventing us from sending more bombs.
Well, that's because of Ukraine.
Yeah, I know. It's because the way they bundle their laws
and the funding packages. Yes, but yeah,
it's a weird world, man.
Yeah, I appreciate the call. Fantastic.
My pleasure.
Have a great
Thanks.
night. If you'd like to call in again, don't wait so long. Feel free anytime.
Thanks, Matt. Entirely my pleasure. Have a great broadcast.
Take care. All right. We'll I gotta read super chats. We'll take one more call. And then I got Majority Report tomorrow. Got Leftist Mafia tomorrow. Let me read a super chat. Oh, we already got the calls coming in. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Matt?
Hey, your volume, I can't hear you. Hello?
Hey, what's up?
There you go, much better. Hey, how you doing? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Matt. It's James. I'm from Austin.
Hey, James from Austin, you said?
Yeah.
Hey, James. Oh, I see you're using video. Could I pull your video up on the feed?
Go for it. Yeah.
Cool. So what would you like to talk about, James?
I guess not too much. I wanted to ask you, I've been seeing how they put. I think y'all touched on it earlier, but like Kathy Hochul was she put all those cops in the subway. I was wondering, like, because I haven't been following it much, like, what was the excuse she gave to do that?
I don't even remember, honestly. It was something really
Yeah.
stupid. It was something really stupid. She's been horrible.
Yeah.
She's been really, really bad. I mean, she was always a conservative Democrat, but she was the whatever it's called, the lieutenant governor when Cuomo stepped down. So I mean, she was there to take his place.
Yeah.
She sucks, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've heard about her. I was gonna ask also, or I guess not really ask, but I guess if you want to comment on it, but just something I've been kind of been bugging me. I don't know. You've been following how like all these bands have been pulling out of South by?
I did see that a bunch of artists pulled out of South by Southwest. Yes,
Yeah,
because
I just wanted to.
they had a number of military vendors
Like
or
Raytheon.
speakers. Yeah, and obviously these are organizations that obviously profit off of war, but specifically right now they are profiting off of the genocide in Gaza.
Yeah, yeah. So it's been cool to see because I'm from Austin, so it's just I wasn't expecting like I thought it was just gonna be another South by even with the genocide going on, but it's been pretty cool to see all those artists and stuff take take some type of stand.
Right. No,
But
it was really nice to see. It was it's I think it's important. I mean, listen, they got South by Southwest to issue a response. It was a terrible response, a ridiculous response. But obviously their protest was heard and affected what the organization had to do.
definitely, yeah. I got one thing I want to say is like, and it's nothing big, but they're like I don't know if you know about there's like this musicians union and they do good work. Like it's a good organization because it's this musicians union thing that's like nationwide, I think, and I guess they try to get bands and artists better pay whenever they play shows and stuff. And I think they even extend to like workers of the venues and stuff. But they've been helping to call out like this year. But one thing that was bugging me about it though, and I guess I'm just ranting a little bit, but I'll keep it quick. It's like tonight and I think on Friday, which is day after tomorrow, they're having a protest, and when tonight it's not really a protest. It's a concert, like a concert to raise awareness about those weapons contractors and stuff. But it bugs me a little bit because on the flyers that they posted on Instagram, it's been like the first thing is like like warmongers out of South by, and this is the same for the flyer for the Friday protest. Uh, it's like the first line is that, so it's good because they'll say warmongers out of South by, but then below it, and this is where I don't think a lot of people probably agree with me. The second line is better pay for South by Southwest performers. And it's just like, for me, it rubs me the wrong way because it's like South by Southwest is such a damaging, like, I mean, there's definitely layers to it. Like you can say it brings better pay to service workers and stuff here in Austin or at these bars, and they kind of rely on this time of year for a certain amount of their income. But at the same time, it's such a at this day and age in Austin, it's a really negative, like I admit, like in the long term, it's done more harm than good, the festival, because it contributes to gentrification. And these artists who, so a lot of them, I don't know about a lot, but some of them are definitely local, but like it's just like they're helping contribute to this gentrification kind of machine that I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think they deserve to be paid at all for playing these shows, because it's like it's a bad, it's not healthy for the city to keep on having this festival, because it just contributes to, yeah, like there's all these like Airbnbs that people rent out this time of year, and it's like and they're having like, it's like, and also it detract, like whenever they on the flyer on the Instagram post, whenever they put that better pay for the musicians and the workers or whatever, or fair pay, it detracts from the Palestine thing. It detracts from the warmongers. Like it's like putting, it's like it's not the first line. It takes the focus away from the warmonger thing. So I don't know if you want to comment on that. I just wanted
No,
to.
I
I don't
see
know
what
if you
you're
have.
I see what you're saying. I don't know enough about it though. This specific thing. So, but I see
I
what you're
feel you.
saying in terms of, these are two sort of maybe distinct issues that shouldn't be, um, combined on a single thing. But I see what you're saying. I don't know enough though of this specific thing though. I would have to see it myself and look into the group and organization and see the flyer and what their action is and things like that.
Totally. All right, Matt. Well,
Great call though.
appreciate
I
it.
really appreciate that you calling in. Is this your first time calling into the show?
Yeah. I've been
Awesome.
been watching you for a while though, so I
Oh,
like
thank
what you
you.
do.
I appreciate that. Feel free to call in anytime.
Thank you, Matt. All right, bro.
Have a great night.
Take care, Matt.
Bye. All right, folks. I know there are a few more people trying to call in. I'm having lower back issues today. I got like I don't know, like a weird it's like what is it called, sciatica or something? Just all of a sudden flared up earlier today. It's really bothering me. So I don't know how much longer I could sit in this chair. Let me read the super chats though. I think that's it for calls today. It's almost midnight. Renee with a slew of super chats. Let me read all of Renee's super chats in a row here. Oh, wait. First of all, I just noticed on Twitch. Let me thank Dylan Burns with the raid. Thank you so much, Dylan. And thank you for the Dylan Burns viewers who stuck around. Appreciate it. If you're not following me already on Twitch, twitch.tv/MattBinder. Also, youtube.com/MattBinder. And the Jody Shouty rated me earlier, too. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Check the Jody Shouty and, of course, Dylan Burns TV out, everyone. Over on Twitch, we got Serious Business. Resubscribe for 1 month at Tier 1. Subscriber for, 12 months. Thank you so much. No, not 12 months. What am I saying? Serious Business. Resubscribe for 1 month at Tier 1. They've been subscribed for 27 months. Jeez, I'm sorry for messing it up. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Over on Patreon, Sisyphean Task. Thank you so much for becoming a member on Patreon at patreon.com/MattBinder. Big help, honestly. We need Patreon subscribers. If you haven't already, patreon.com/MattBinder. Growing that's super important. And of course, if you got that Amazon Prime subscription, you get that free Twitch Prime subscription every month. Use it if you'd like. Subscribe to me at twitch.tv/MattBinder. It's free for you, but it gets me paid by Amazon. Now the super chats again. Renee's string of super chats. Let's read these all right now. This was talking about the Nazis earlier, and they're not even sponsored by Hugo Boss. Renee continues, millennial as in 1900s? Right, that's funny. It's vampires that don't show up on film. They just have the same tailor. It's Gestapo drip. Ask Will Neff, says Renee. As a Chilean, yelling for Pinochet in English is trying too hard, like chanting for Thatcher in Mandarin. Renee, you're on a roll today. These are good. These are funny. Renee also says the Irish bands pull out of South by South Raytheon. Tokyo Hans with a super chat. A shout out to my beautiful partner to whom I met 11 years ago today. Congratulations, Tokyo Hans, to you and Mrs. Tokyo Hans. Tokyo Hans GF. Tokyo Hans' better half. Vincent Morales with a super chat. I can't send the super chat. You did. It's sent. I got it. What would you like to say? That's the message you paid for. I'm sorry. Oh, no, wait. You didn't pay for that. But I read it anyway. No, it's fine. I don't mind. I don't know why you can't send the super chat, Vincent. That's weird. Tokyo Hans with a membership super chat. Are Matt's sleeves shorter than usual, or is he doing suns out, guns out? Usually his tattoo isn't as visible. I think I repositioned the camera. So maybe you see more of my arms than when I'm down here. So I did reposition the camera a bit. Also, I'm usually wearing my hoodie, especially during the winter. But it's getting nice here. It's sort of hot in this apartment right now. So I'm not wearing my hoodie. But most of the sleeves of my t-shirts are about this size. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Any of those things could play a role or all together. Jay Cass with a super chat. It isn't just Aaron Rodgers rumored as VP for RFK. Rumor is Jesse Ventura is being considered too. Don't think the latter would accept though. This was sent before the. I mean, like I said, I'm not opposed to Jesse Ventura. It's RFK Jr. I'm opposed to. Pitchfork Dragon with a super chat. Republicans, we love Jesus so much we gotta ethnically cleanse where he's from. And those are that's the super chat. Those are the super chats. And that's the show. Oh wait, we got another one that just came in. Cy Abelman with a super chat. Joe Rogan 2028 presidential run odds. Oh boy, don't even. I don't think he would run. Because I don't think he could take if he lost. I also don't think he cares about the presidency. But I also don't think if he did care, he could take losing. No, not too harsh for a super chat. Pitchfork Dragon. Sort of like, oof, like it's too close to. Omega says, Matt, trust me, Dylan Burns is a Zionist. Is he? I don't think so. Why would he raid this show knowing that I am not? Kowalski from Nebraska, resubscriber Prime, subscriber for 9 months. Thank you, Kowalski. Kowalski says, corn. J. Cass says, sciatica sucks, cool ow. Yeah, it does. I fucking hate it. And it just came out of the blue today. I've had it before, obviously. Hey, I don't think Dylan Burns is a Zionist. All right, folks. Unless anyone else has anything left to say, I'm going to say once again, patreon.com/MattBinder if you can afford to become a paying monthly subscriber. YouTube.com/MattBinder, Twitch.tv/MattBinder, Doomedcast.com, ScamEconomy.com, and who should I rate on Twitch? We got 92 viewers right now. Don't want to just waste, just end the program and miss out on all these people. Sending them somewhere good. Let's see. I see Riverboat Jack is on. I see Benny dot gay is on. Who should I raid? Oh, Valanova gave out 10 community gift subs. Thank you so much, Valanova. And there's a hype train going on now. And Robot Monkey Cat resubscribed for 1 month at tier 1. Subscriber for 28 months. Hopping on for the raid, says Robot Monkey Cat. Thank you so much. We got a hype train going on for this raid. So you know what? While the hype train is counting down, we got a less than 4 minute hype train here. To go on this hype train here. Let's who we raiding? Who we raiding? Let's see. Riverboat Jack. We got someone for Benny. We got another one for Benny. We got another one for Riverboat Jack. Oh boy. Looks split. You know what? While we got the time, let's put it to a vote. I'm going to throw up over at twitch.tv/MattBinder. I'm going to throw up a poll. Haven't done one of those in a while. Where's the poll button? Where's that poll button? Where's the fucking poll button? Manage poll. Here we go. Create new poll. Who should I raid? And let's put Riverboat Jack. Let's put Benny. And I will put other as well. And we're going to do 2-minute here poll. Here we go. Poll starting now. Benny takes the early lead with 4 votes. Let's see. It's still got time. I'm trying to think of what song I should go with. I don't know why I'm going with the racing song, like the horse. Riverboat Jack comes back with. Oh no, Benny takes the lead again though. This is gonna be down to the wire. It looks. Let's see. Pitchforks Dragon with a super chat says, "Don't raid anyone. Doors are expensive to fix." Yeah. All right. Let's see. Benny's still taking this. Benny's got this one, I think. The William Tell Overture. Thank you, Charlie DeGenemer. I was trying to remember what it's called. All right. Time is running out. Less than a minute. Oh, it's gonna be Benny, unless all of a sudden a mass swell of support comes in for Riverboat Jack. I'm raiding Benny, it seems. And that's it. Benny gets the raid. I haven't raided Benny in a while, and Riverboat Jack I've raided recently, so it's nothing but love. All right, that's it. Hype train has ended, I believe. Let's set up the raid on. Hype train success. Nice. Thank you, everybody. Oh, and Renee with another super chat. Shout out to Bald Man and Aiden for failing spectacularly. Oh, right. I didn't even talk about Andrew Tate and Aiden Ross. Oh, next time. All right, everyone. I'm going to do the raid right now. Have a fantastic night. Majority Report tomorrow. You can find me on there. And, of course, you can find me on Leftist Mafia tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here at my YouTube channel. So I'll see you all tomorrow.